Hello everyone, welcome to What If Quirkless Deku Became the Gold Saint of Pisces movie. Before we start, please go support Nicuchio for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Deku is a male. Izuku will be quirkless, mistreated by his best friend and family. He will have the attitude of Albafica. I don't like Aphrodite and I prefer the one from Lost Canvas, whom he considers his father, in addition to being a teacher. So his appearance is the same as his sensei. The UA will be the place of sanctuary. There will be no fems. Pairing not yet decided, though it will probably be Momo. There will be no harem. Melissa will have the OFA. Almight will be at the USJ, but he won't be able to act because a group of villains who pretend to be AFO will arrive. Some spoilers of what's coming. Surely some of the 1A will be knights. Bakugo and Izuku's brother will not. Chapter 1. After the battle against Hades, the goddess Athena, Saori Kido, had a bad feeling, which was confirmed by her father Zeus. Zeus, my daughter, something has happened. Saori, father, first confirm something for me. The cosmos of Hades is not felt in this world, not even in the seal. What is the reason for this? Zeus, that's the problem, my daughter. Hades and his 108 ghosts have left this world, since thanks to all the defeats he has suffered, he has chosen to leave and try to conquer another world, another dimension. Saori, it can't be. Does that mean Hades hasn't been defeated? Zeus, in reality he has been defeated, but tired of losing, he chose to go to another world where he can carry out his plans without you stopping him. That is why I want to ask you to go with your knights. Saori, how much time do we have? Zeus, the holy war and that trip have weakened him a lot, so he'll need a long time to recover, and seeing the state of your knights, I'll give you the opportunity to revive one so you can send him to that world and get a knight from that world, while here you manage to re-establish the rest. Saori, I accept the mission, father, but first allow me to use the golden fleece. Zeus, okay. Who will you revive? Saori, I will revive the Pisces Knight Albafica. I know he is not from the last holy war, but if I send Aphrodite to another world I don't know what she will do. Instead, I know that Albafica will train someone from that world and make him a great knight. Zeus, okay, raising his cosmos and making Albafica appear. Albafica, where am I? Then he sees Athena, goddess Athena, kneels Zeus-sama. To what do I owe being revived? Saori, you see, Albafica, the situation is serious, she tells him, and that's what's happening and why you were chosen. Albafica, that damned one, I accept your commission, Athena-sama. So I asked to wear the old Pisces armor and the new one. Saori, you know what you're going to do with your disciple, right? Albafica, I know, but I am convinced that the armor of the holy war in which I participated was the most beautiful of all. Saori, I see. So father, are you ready? Zeus, that's my daughter opening a portal where Albafica enters. In another world, we met a woman and her 2 children in a hospital. This young lady was Inko Midoriya and she was with her sons Izuku Midoriya and Katsuo Midoriya. The reason why they were in the hospital, simple little Katsuo managed to awaken his quirk that he called Flare since he is capable of expelling a large amount of fire through his hands. But little Izuku had not awakened his quirk, so they went to the hospital to do some tests. Doctor, well, Midoriya family, how can I help you? The gentleman asked kindly. Inko, well doctor, the thing is that I was here the first time when Katsuo woke up his quirk at age 3, but my other son didn't wake it up. Doctor, well, Mrs. Midoriya, children develop differently, but if you want, we can run some tests on your son to find out what's going on. The doctor ran many tests on Izuku and after 30 minutes he returned with the test results, and a slightly sad face since he was going to do what he liked least. Break a dream. Doctor, you better give up, boy, said the doctor a little sadly, leaving everyone in shock. Inko, why do you say that? Said the twins' mother a little annoyed. Doctor, well, ma'am, since the quirks woke up, we doctors have noticed when a person doesn't have a quirk, that is to say that they belong to the 20% that hasn't evolved, and in the case of your son Izuku, his foot has 2 joints instead of 1. That is to say that he belongs to the 20% that hasn't evolved, said the doctor seriously. Inko thought about the doctor's words and after 2 minutes she reacted and with an indifferent face she thanked the doctor while Tatsuo was a little sad with his brother. As they were walking home, Inko stopped seeing Izuku as a son while he held back the urge to cry for everything that had happened. Upon arriving at their house, a brown-haired man greeted them and this man was Izuku's father, Hisashi Midoriya, and his quirk was to breathe fire. Hisashi, How did it go in the hospital? The man said a little seriously. Izuku, Oto-san eto, Katsuo, Oto-san. We had been told that Izuku doesn't have a quirk, said the boy, not knowing that by telling his father that, he marked a future for the green-haired boy. Inko, it's true, it turns out the useless one was born without a quirk, Izuku's mother said emotionlessly. Hisashi looked down on his son at that moment, and later made the boy regret living. After that, days had passed where Izuku received treatment he didn't deserve. When his mother argued with his father, she ended up unloading all her frustration and hatred against him. Things didn't improve with his brother either, since he had awakened hatred and resentment against his brother thanks to his father. He had also said at school that Izuku didn't have a quirk, where all the children laughed at him. Even the one he thought was his best friend, he humiliated him and his brother in a way that would make the boy wish for death. Every night Izuku slept in a closet begging a hero to save him, but no one came to his aid. The only good thing is that the boy, despite suffering all the time, feels an incredible peace and tranquility when he is in a field of flowers. With Albafica, he had arrived in a strange world, so he decided to live in the forest and get to know the city. The women were dazzled by such a beautiful man, some of them even got nosebleeds. The men only cursed under their breath at the guy's beauty, and some thought he was a transvestite. One day Albafica was walking through a park where there was a field of flowers, and he saw a child all beaten up and sitting crying while looking at the flowers. Chapter 2. Albafica managed to see a beaten child and look at the flowers. He even came closer because he was curious to see how the child ended up like that. Albafica, excuse me, can I accompany you? Said the Golden Knight as he looked at Izuku. Izuku, seeing the man, says a few words to him. Izuku, sure, no problem, said Izuku, faking a happy mask, but inside he was crying endlessly. Of course Albafica noticed that the boy was pretending to be happy, but he knew he was suffering. Albafica sat next to Izuku as the two looked at the flowers, but more specifically the roses. Albafica, they are beautiful, don't you believe it? Izuku, yes, you're right, said Izuku as he was captivated by the beauty of the flowers. Albafica, you know something. It is said that roses are harmless, but it is not true. Roses among all the other flowers are not what they appear to be. They may look harmless and weak, but the reality is that they are the most powerful and beautiful flowers. Izuku was confused by the words the strange man said, and when he turned his body a little he felt a lot of pain that was noticed by Albafica. Albafica saw how the child felt pain when he tried to move, so he became worried about the boy, so he lifted his shirt a little, and what he saw left him shocked. The child had the area of his stomach bandaged with a little blood. Albafica, who hurt you? The gentleman asked, surprised since he never imagined seeing a child so injured. Izuku just cried when he remembered who gave him that wound. Izuku, the one who did this to me was my brother, said the boy, crying inconsolably while Albafica supports the boy on his shoulder, while he cried without rest since he guessed that the boy needed to vent. After several minutes where Izuku stopped crying, Albafica lit his hand in a warm cosmos that when touching Izuku's wound he begins to stop feeling pain. Izuku, incredible, that's your quirk, sir, said the boy animatedly. Albafica, by the time he arrived, learned that most humans possess a special ability, which took a weight off his shoulders since he could freely use his power, but only when the situation warranted it. Albafica, it's not an ability of my power, said the man, surprising Izuku. Izuku, excuse the inconvenience. My name is Izuku Midori. Izuku's face became serious just as Albafica noticed that the boy had hatred and resentment in his eyes, surely because of what he had experienced. Aphrodite, nice to meet you, Izuku. My name is Albafica of Pisces, said the man, who stood up and took a rose that he placed on his lips. Izuku was surprised by the name, but didn't give it much thought. Albafica, well, Izuku, sorry if this question is a little uncomfortable, but why did you have that wound on your stomach? The Pisces Knight asked a little curiously, since it was not normal for a child to have a wound of such size. Izuku got a little sad and tells Albafica what happened. Izuku, well, Mr. Albafica, what happened was that my brother gave me this wound. Izuku began to tell Albafica that since his parents and brother found out that they didn't have a quirk, he suffered a lot of abuse from his parents and brother, that he was always beaten for no reason, and that at his school things also got worse, and that his ex-best friend beat him mercilessly just for being quirkless. He also told him that his dream was to be a hero like his idol Almight. Upon hearing that, Albafica only felt fury for what the child went through and showed it by raising his cosmos, emanating a golden aura that surprised Izuku, and then he calmed down and looked at the child with a little sadness for what he suffered, and suddenly something occurred to him. Albafica, Izuku, and if you were told that dreams are not impossible, said Albafica, leaving Izuku surprised. Listen, right now you are like a bud, but people do not have faith that you can blossom and show your beauty. But if a person gives you the necessary care, that bud can blossom into a delicate and dangerous rose, said Albafica, confusing Izuku. Albafica, what I'm trying to tell you is that I do have faith that you can become a hero, and for that I'm going to help you. I, Albafica, Golden Knight of Pisces, offer you Izuku to become my apprentice and show all the people who lost faith in you that you are not a hindrance but rather you will be a hero, you will be my successor, said Albafica with a smile, leaving Izuku so surprised that he began to burst into tears while he was on the ground. Izuku, while remembering all the mistreatment he suffered, begins to see Albafica as a light that gave him back the hope of staying on his feet. Izuku, I accept, said the 5-year-old boy with determination as he stood up, still with slight tears while he had a determined look. Albafica was surprised by Izuku's look of determination. He had undoubtedly found a worthy bearer to fight for justice. Albafica crouches down to Izuku's height, and from his pocket he took out a red rose which he gave to Izuku. Izuku was dazzled by Rose's beauty, and he received her with joy. While seeing her he could contemplate her beauty at 100%. Albafica, well Izuku, tomorrow we'll see each other at this place to start your training since it's getting late, said Albafica, since the two had spent around 50 minutes talking and that was in the afternoon. Izuku was aware that if he arrived home too late his mother would greet him with one of the worst beatings, so he bowed to Albafica and said goodbye. Izuku, see you tomorrow, Albafica sensei. Chapter 3. Izuku was on his way home with the beautiful flower in his hand, thinking that the flower his current teacher gave him was beautiful. But Izuku's thoughts are interrupted when he got home because he heard a big argument, so when he entered he hid behind the sofa and heard everything. Hisashi, I can't stand it anymore. I can't live in the same house as a Quirkless, said Izuku's father, annoyed with some suitcases in his hand. Inko, Sniff, you're going to leave us? Sniff, what will I do without you? I love you, please don't go, said the broken woman, crying. Hisashi, I'm sorry, but my patience has a limit. How long can I endure that bastard? And believe me, I would like to find a better way. But that would mean that you would have to do something for me, said Hisashi with a somewhat devilish smile that his wife didn't notice. But Izuku did, and he got scared. Inko, I'll do anything for you so we can be a happy family again, said the woman, confident that if she did what her husband asked her right he would never leave her side. But Izuku was only afraid of what was going to happen. Hisashi, get rid of that useless guy who's good for nothing, said Izuku's father with a slight smile, since he couldn't stand quirkless people. Izuku is shocked by what he just heard from his father, but what his mother said completely destroyed him. Inko, if it's for you, my love, I'm glad to get rid of him, said the woman with a smile, since she blamed Inko for all the fights she had with her husband, so how could she not take it out on Katsuo, who was her favorite son, and of course he also helped his parents to teach his useless brother his place, who in his eyes is under his feet. Upon hearing that, Izuku tries to leave his house, but his brother Katsuo kicked him hard in the back, forcing Izuku to fall on his chest on the ground before the evil gaze of his parents. Katsuo, father, mother, I found the useless one, he said with a crazy smile. Inko, congratulations son, you are destined to be a great hero, said the children's mother as she kissed Katsuo's forehead. Hisashi, look at you, if only you had been born with a quirk, you wouldn't be suffering from this kind of thing, said Izuku's father while looking at him seriously as he approached slowly. After Hisashi approaches his son, he gives him a powerful kick to the chin that sends him to the wall, falling badly injured. Inko noticed something about her son's bastard and that he had a rose in his right hand, so she came up with something to have fun with. Inko, Katsuo, can you do me a favor, son? She said while looking at her son sweetly. Katsuo, yes mother, what do you want? He said, smiling, since his mother always asked him to hit or burn his brother's hands. Inko, burn that stupid flower for your brother, said Inko, pointing at what Izuku was holding on to with all his strength. Katsuo, it will be a pleasure, while smiling sadistically, while he slowly approached where Izuku was, and he takes his brother and sets it on fire, burning his hand and the beautiful flower. With Albafica, he was in the garden of his cabin, and felt something since the flower he gave to Izuku was a special rose. Then he felt like something bad was going to happen, so he runs out with all his strength to the city since he had a bad feeling related to his student. Izuku screamed in pain and rolled on the ground as his hand put out the fire he had. But unfortunately his rose burned, his hand not much. Inko, seeing the green-haired man's face of pain and sadness, takes a photo to save and then laugh heartily with her husband and son. Hisashi approaches his son and grabs him by the chin with his left hand and then hits him with a powerful blow with his right hand, leaving him unconscious. Hisashi, family, pack up, we're leaving now, he said to his wife and son, who quickly went to pack their clothes and some valuables like money and such, while he tied Izuku against the stairs so he wouldn't run away from his death. Later, the Midoriya family leaves their home while the father was sprinkling some kind of liquid near his house. Hisashi, Katsuo, when I give you the order, shoot at the gasoline. Understood, he said seriously to his now only son. Katsuo, hi, he said happily to please his parents. The family got into a car as they drove away, and then Hisashi gave the signal to Katsuo to take a gun pose with his hand and shoot a small flame that began to burn the house, while they went very far away from there. Izuku, after being beaten and knocked out, begins to wake up as he was choking on smoke and noticed that he was gagged and tied up. As the fire spread, Izuku struggled with all his might to break free, but he was unable to do anything because the smoke from the fire made it difficult for him to breathe. So he began to fall asleep, losing all hope, until a memory came to his mind. Flashback. Albafica, I do have faith that you can be a hero. End of flashback. Izuku thought, I will not give up. I will not let down the only person who had faith in my dream. I will fight to become a hero. Izuku, with everything, with his last strength, cleverly removes the cloth that covered his mouth and after letting out a long sigh, gathers all his strength and shouts his master's name. Izuku, Albafica. Izuku shouted in despair as he fell unconscious. With Albafica, he was desperately searching for his student, but he heard as if someone was calling him, and it was the voice of his student asking for his help, so he sped to where his student was asking for help, and what he found was that a house was on fire and some firefighters and heroes were trying to keep them at bay while the firefighters tried to put out the fire. Albafica, with his cosmos, felt how Izuku's life was slowly fading away, so since he wasn't going to allow it, he jumped on some heroes and firefighters while running inside the house listening to what the heroes were saying. Hero 1, stupid, get out of there or you'll die. Firefighter, young man, listen up and get out of there. Albafica didn't hear that and entered the house where he was looking for his student who was tied to some stairs, so he freed him. But then an explosion was heard that was caused by the fire. Some civilian heroes and firefighters saw how the place exploded, thinking that the young idiot committed suicide. But even more was their surprise since the same young man who ran to the burning house came out of the house through the door with a child on his back who was badly injured. Chapter 4. In a hospital in Tokyo, Izuku is found waking up from everything that happened. He thought he was going to die in that fire, but it was the opposite. Before falling unconscious, he was able to see his teacher who came to save him. When Izuku woke up, he saw clearly and found his right hand bandaged and some bandages on his body. Next to his bed was Albafica with a rose in her mouth, apparently sleeping. Albafica wakes up several minutes later to see his student, and upon seeing him he hugs him and Izuku lovingly receives the hug. But suddenly Albafica hits him on the head. Albafica, idiot, did you want to scare me to death? Now I want you to explain to me how you ended up like this, Izuku, he said, annoyed. Upon hearing that, Izuku only shed light tears, and when he wanted to answer his teacher's question, a heroine entered the room. Excuse me if I'm interrupting something. I wanted to know how the child was, said a heroine who blushed when she saw Albafica's beauty. Albafica looked at the woman, and when he saw her eyes he became lost in them, since those eyes reflected the same ocean where one could easily get lost. Izuku, well miss, I feel fine, said Izuku with slight tears, killing the moment of Albafica and Midnight, who both turned their heads to avoid their blush being seen. Midnight, after seeing Izuku, was shocked since the boy had his right arm bandaged, and she had heard that a house caught fire. But according to what she heard, there was no one in the house. But the heroes and firefighters were wrong. Midnight, upon seeing Albafica better, noticed that his clothes were a little burned and a little dirty from the soot, and assumed that he was the person she heard talking about who jumped into the house to rescue the boy. Midnight, I introduce myself. I am the +18 professional heroine Midnight, said the professional heroine with a pose that would make many men blush. But in Albafica's case, he just looked at her calmly with a slight smile. Albafica, nice to meet you, Miss Midnight. Let me introduce myself. I'm Albafica, she said with her rose in her mouth, and Midnight blushed at her beauty and also found that name strange. Midnight, a pleasure, Albafica. But could you tell me how that child ended up in that house that burned down? The heroine asked, intrigued. Albafica, before you came in untimely, miss, I was about to listen to what my student was going to say, he said, surprising Midnight that this gentleman of such beautiful beauty was the boy's teacher. Izuku sniffed. What happened, sniffed, was that my parents and brother almost killed me, said Izuku, surprising both adults. Izuku told Midnight everything he had suffered for not having a quirk, and she was shocked since a child does not deserve to suffer that. But Izuku told her everything he had heard from his parents, and the beating they gave him, and when his brother burned his right hand. In the hospital there was a slight earthquake, and the cause was Albafica, who was upset and began to raise his cosmos violently. Because of what they did to his student, Midnight was scared by the power that emanated from that man, but she saw Izuku cry for everything, so she hugs him so that the child cries for everything. Albafica begins to calm down, but she sees that Izuku was crying in the heroine's chest, and seeing that image she only felt sadness, so to the heroine's amazement Albafica approaches and hugs Izuku by the back and also hugs the heroine, while Izuku vents about all his suffering. After Izuku cried so loudly, he fell asleep in the embrace of both adults and, upon seeing the position they were in, they separated a little, blushing. After a few moments, as both of them did not know how to start a conversation, Midnight looked at the rose that Albafica was holding in her mouth and wanted to touch it because she thought it was beautiful. But before she could do so, Albafica hits her hand, causing the woman to become upset by the act. Midnight, why did you do that? Said the woman angrily while rubbing her hand. Albafica, are you crazy? Don't even think about touching this rose again? He said seriously. Midnight, and that would be because, said the heroine, annoyed. Albafica, you do not deserve to touch the demonic rose because by doing so you expose your life to the rose's poison, he said as he brought the rose to his nose to smell the deadly, exquisite aroma. Midnight was surprised by what the guy had said, but she was about to not believe him. But when she saw his serious face when she hit his hand, she was surprised. Midnight, well, Albafica, tell me why it was that which entered the child's house when it burned down, said the heroine seriously. Albafica, easy. The day the fire occurred in the morning I met Izuku and I proposed that he be my apprentice since I saw in him a path that when I was a child I could not see. That is why I offered to train him so that he inherits my will and beauty, he said, surprising Midnight. Midnight, but if he doesn't have a quirk, how will you train him? Since from what I just saw, your quirk is powerful and I'm surprised you're not a hero, said the professional heroine. Albafica, I am not a hero because I dislike those types of people who only become heroes out of vanity. However, what does it have to do with the fact that Izuku does not have a quirk? In my childhood I did not have a power either, but I did not give up and I managed to be what I am today, he said seriously, surprising Midnight. Midnight couldn't believe what she heard, and she started to think that what Albafica and he were saying was right, since many heroes only accept the job for the money and popularity. Chapter 5. Days after what happened to Izuku, many things happened. 1. The heroine, who had come to ask questions about what happened to him that night, had come to visit him and Albafica every day that Izuku was in the hospital. 2. The heroine and Albafica began to get to know each other better until she told him her name, Narumi Kiyama, and also that she got along very well with Albafica since they were both equally dangerous, the woman because of her sleeping gas and the man because of his poisonous scent. And let's say that the two understood each other very well since they were both beautiful and dangerous. 3. The day Izuku was discharged, he had nowhere to live, so Midnight suggested that she wanted to adopt him, and that made the green-haired boy's heart happy. That same day, he hugged the heroine and said a few words that made the heroine's heart happy. Izuku, I'm very happy Oka-san ate. Narumi's heart was gladdened as she had always dreamed of hearing those words for a long time, since she was not interested in many heroes because they only saw her as an object for her reputation and her body instead of seeing her as a person. Of course, the only one who saw Midnight as she really was Albafica, who little by little began to feel something for the woman. After that, Izuku and Narumi went to her house, and since she knew that Albafica would train Izuku, She gave him her permission and also offered him to stay and live with them. Narumi, when she asked Albafica this, she almost fainted from the huge blush she had. But she wouldn't let him live for free if she forced Albafica to look for a job. Albafica, when he heard this, wanted to reply since he was a child he was only taught to fight to the death with honor. But he reluctantly accepted the condition that he would look for work. But he also took advantage of the situation and imposed 2 rules. The first was that Midnight would not interfere in Izuku's training, and the second and most important rule was that no one other than Albafica would enter the field of roses that he would build. The heroine found both reasons strange, but she accepted them, although the last one did scare her a little. As time went by, which was 4 months, Albafica moved to live with Narumi, who had managed to adopt Izuku and had found a job as a florist since she would at least work in floral arrangements. We are currently in a forest where Albafica can be seen alongside a 6-year-old Izuku since a year has passed since what happened to his family. Albafica: very well, Izuku. First, to begin your training to become a Gold Knight, you will first have to awaken your cosmos, he said seriously. Izuku: father, what does it mean to awaken the cosmos? He said confused, while Albafica just sighed heavily. Albafica: the cosmos is like a small universe that everyone possesses, and to achieve awakening you must undergo inhuman training. Since with the cosmos you can do things like these, said Albafica, pointing to a large rock behind him, and he turns on his cosmos a good level and hits the rock hard, causing it to destroy into small pieces, surprising Izuku. Izuku: but dad, is it possible to do that? I ask. Albafica: of course it is possible. Think of it this way, there are 5 senses: hearing, smell, touch, taste and sight, right? Well, the cosmos is like a 6th sense that gives you greater power during battles, and there is also the golden cosmos, the 7th sense, which is an incredible power that allows you to perform miracles. Even with the 7th you would be able to give the gold saints a great fight. Izuku was impressed by what his teacher and father told him, but then he became confused again when he said the gold saints. Izuku: dad, one last question, what exactly are the gold saints? He said again, confused, and this time Albafica almost sighed if it weren't because he remembered that he doesn't belong to this dimension. Albafica: well, Izuku, where I come from there are warriors who protected their goddess, even giving their lives. These people were known as the Knights of Athena, who were able to fight against the gods themselves. Among the Knights of Athena, first are the Bronze Knights, the first level of soldiers, then the Silver Knights, who slightly surpass the Bronze Knights in power and techniques. And finally there are the 12 Golden Knights, who represent the constellations of the 12 signs of the zodiac, and have devastating power, and I am one of them, said Aphrodite, surprising Izuku by everything. Albafica: to my Pisces, said the knight, summoning his golden armor and putting it on. Izuku had stars instead of eyes, since when his master summoned his armor he could notice that it was shaped like a fish and was made of gold. Albafica: well, stop admiring the beauty of my armor and concentrate, because your training begins. First you must destroy this rock with your own fists, Albafica said seriously, which made Izuku go pale. Thus began Izuku's hell, as he hit the rock with all his might. Only when he did so his bones broke, and Albafica healed him with her cosmos. But it still hurt, while she subjected him to horrible physical training, which was at that time 500 push-ups, 500 sit-ups, running 2.5 kilometers without stopping, and he had to do all the exercises before the day was over or else he wouldn't make it to dinner. When Midnight found out what Albafica was doing to her son, she wanted to strangle him, but he told her the condition of not disturbing Izuku during training. Izuku found it difficult to break the rock with his hand, and Albafica gave him some advice on how to do it. Albafica: if you want to break the rock, just imagine that the rock is made of atoms. Well, if you want to destroy it, you must destroy those atoms with your power and your spirit. That's the only way to achieve it, the Pisces Knight wisely said. Izuku, imagining that the rock was composed of atoms and his spirit telling him with all his strength to destroy the rock, concentrates all his cosmos and releases it in a single point, destroying the rock with great force, while Albafica only held a slight smile since his student in a very short time managed to awaken his cosmos. As time went by, Albafica, as Izuku got used to it, doubled the number of exercises, and, so that it wasn't just pure muscle, she also taught him the theory of how the cosmos works. But what cost Izuku the most in his training was adapting to the poison of the demonic roses, since Albafica explained to him that the aspiring knights of Pisces must first endure the poison of the red roses as an initial test, since many in the past died for not being able to endure it. Izuku, upon hearing this, became scared. But as time passed, Izuku was not affected as much by the poison of the red roses. In fact, he could even smell their aroma without vomiting blood or getting dizzy. Midnight, upon finding out, was shocked at what Albafica did to her son, and when she heard Izuku tell him that a test to endure his resistance exposed him to the poison of Albafica's roses, which are very deadly, she got very upset, and this time she jumped on top of Albafica while strangling him for almost killing her son. But Albafica, during her moment of almost dying from lack of air, only blushed from seeing the eyes of that beautiful woman so close. Midnight, when she noticed her lover blushing, also blushed because of the position they were in, and she stopped strangling Albafica, and the two were left in a very compromising position, and little by little they both get closer until they were so close that they could feel each other's breath, and with a slight blush, Albafica brings her lips to the heroine's to kiss her, and she gladly receives that kiss she dreamed of so much from the first man who saw her as she really was. After the kiss, Midnight got back into shape when he met Albafica, a cheerful, outgoing woman. Chapter 6. As time passed, Izuku overcame the test of enduring the poison of the royal demonic roses, and then Albafica taught him how to awaken the seventh sense and all its techniques, including the crimson thorns. Midnight also wanted her son to go to school so that he could achieve his dream of being a hero. She also declared with all her heart how her feelings were towards the Pisces Knight one day when Izuku was not at home. And when he heard such a declaration from the woman he loves, he just kissed her, and that was how from that day Midnight and Albafica became a couple and later got married, and Izuku saw Albafica as his father as well as his teacher. 5 years later, we found ourselves in a garden of red roses where Albafica of Pisces and a young man with green hair who had a beautiful face were. It was Izuku who, due to hard training, lost those freckles that he had, and his face became like his father's, fine and delicate like a rose. Also, thanks to the cosmos, his hair stopped being that dark green it had but became a lighter and more beautiful green. Albafica looked with pride at his son and student. Since he began his training, he showed great progress and managed to awaken and understand the seventh sense at a very early age, something that surprised Albafica, and even more was his surprise when it did not affect him the poison of the roses. So he decided that it was time to do a ritual for the Knights of Pisces. Albafica, Izuku, since I proposed you to be my successor and apprentice a long time ago, you have made me feel proud of the decision I made. Your performance is extraordinary. Not only were you able to awaken and understand your cosmos at a very young age, but you also passed the first test of Pisces, living among the real demonic roses without dying from their lethal poison, he said proudly. Izuku just watched as his teacher had a smile that ever since Albafica trained him he always wanted to be stronger than his father. Albafica changed his face from happy to serious, something that Izuku notices and becomes serious anyway. Albafica, Izuku, among the Knights of Pisces there is a ritual where you will be given two paths to choose from. The first is that you can leave this field of roses and live normally and socialize with people, or the second is that you stay in this rosebush, and we make a pact with me where the two of us drink each other's blood, he said seriously. Izuku thought for a long time, and he understood perfectly what would happen if he and his father made that pact. One of the two was going to die. So he thought and wanted to take the first option. But he did not want to leave his teacher alone, so after a few long minutes Izuku came to a single conclusion. Izuku, sensei, I decide to take the second option, said the green-haired man seriously and with determination. Both Izuku and Albafica were observed by crying Narumi, since her husband had explained everything about his life to her, something that was not easy for the heroine to believe. After a while, she believed him, but at this moment, what hurt the heroine the most was when her husband spoke to her about the Blood Pact. Flashback. Last night Narumi was talking to Albafica about Izuku's performance. Narumi, honey, how is our son doing with his training? The woman asked, a little intrigued by her son's performance. Albafica, if I'm honest, I'm surprised the boy has come so far and I'm proud of him, he said happily. But then he became serious. But I'm afraid the time will soon come to perform the ritual, he said a little sadly, confusing his wife. Narumi, what do you mean the time has come to do the ritual? The heroine asked a little fearfully. Albafica, Do you remember that I told you that I'm a gold knight and that I'm not from this dimension? I asked, a little melancholic. Narumi, yes, it was hard for me to believe, but I ended up believing you anyway. But what does that have to do with it? The heroine asked doubtfully. Aphrodite, well, you know that there are 12 houses that are protected by 12 golden knights that represent the 12 signs of the zodiac, starting with Aries and ending with my house Pisces. Well, between the Temple of Pisces and the Temple of the Patriarch there is a path of poisoned roses, and the Knight of Pisces must be immune to the essence of roses. Narumi, you're telling me that the time Izuku was with you in that garden he started to adapt to the rose poison. Albafica, yes, but by being with roses for a long time and they do not affect him, his blood becomes the most deadly poison than the real demonic roses, which I explained to you lead their victim to a certain and slow death while they lose their 5 senses, he said seriously, leaving his wife surprised that her son now has the most deadly poison in his blood. Albafica, well, since I am the Knight of Pisces and Izuku is my apprentice, well, it turns out that the time has come to make the Bloody Pact, which consists of Izuku having to make a decision. He will have to choose a life outside the rosebush where he can interact with others, or make the Blood Pact that both Izuku and I risk our lives, since in this pact teacher and student drink their own poisoned blood, and it is a test to see who of the two is stronger. The one with the strongest blood will survive and the other will die, saying that Narumi was crying because if she knew right she would lose her husband or her son. This devastated her. Narumi, sniffed, there is no other way, said the woman, crying for what is coming. Aphrodite, there is none, as it is a sacred ritual for the Knights of Pisces, as it unites the teacher and student in a lifelong bond. Upon hearing this, the heroine cried inconsolably while being hugged by her husband, who had a sad look on his face. Then flashback. In the rosebush. Albafica, Izuku, as your teacher, I'm not going to stop you, but as your father, I warn you that once we do this, there's no turning back. Izuku, sensei had already said it, but if necessary I will say it again. I am very grateful for all your teachings, for having been my father, and for having had faith in me just like my mother. So yes, I am willing to make the Bloody Pact, cutting his left hand with his right hand, letting his blood fall into a cup that was there, while shedding tears and healing himself using his cosmos. Albafica was surprised by the action of his disciple and son, so with slight tears falling from his face, he proceeded to cut himself and perform the same action as his son. Both teacher and student drank from the opposite cup of blood. Midnight only cried because she didn't know who she would lose, but she began to feel nauseous. In the following days Albafica began to feel ill, vomiting blood constantly, and Midnight was not feeling well either. She was vomiting, feeling tired, and added to the cravings she had, she decided to go to the hospital. At the health institution, a doctor had told her to take a pregnancy test, so once she got home she ran to the bathroom to take the test, whereupon she began to shout with joy because she was indeed pregnant, but that happiness turned to sadness because her husband would never meet their daughter. Upon hearing that he was going to be a father, Albafica was happy, but at the same time sad since he wouldn't see the birth of his daughter, so he became serious, taking a piece of paper and writing a few words so that after his death they could be read in his letter, in addition to recording a video to leave for his family. Chapter 7. Izuku was extremely bored at school, since that morning his mother had gone to the doctor to find out about his situation, while the homeroom teacher arrived to give the news. Teacher, well guys, since you are in 3rd year of high school it is time for you to decide what you want to do. But I know that many of you want to be heroes, he said while throwing the papers in the air, making all the kids use their quirk except a young man of beautiful appearance with a rose in his mouth looking out the window because he felt that something was about to happen and that would change everything. Teacher, well, it says here that someone from our school is going to take the UA exam, and that's Izuku. The teacher saying that all the students began to laugh since they never saw Izuku use his quirk, thinking he was quirkless for not having a power. But the truth is Izuku could freely use his cosmos to silence his classmates. But Albafica warned him that he should never use his power for personal purposes and that he should only use it to protect others, since that is the way of life of the knights. Albafica told him about Izuku's predecessor, Aphrodite of Pisces, who for a long time was blind because he believed that the strongest should have all the power and subdue the weak. But a bronze knight opened his eyes, thanking him for a new perspective of what a golden knight really is, and that the true knights of Athena are those who fight for peace and justice. Something that, in the words of Albafica, should always have been that way, and that ideal should never have been accepted within the sanctuary, expelling him from the order. Izuku just looked at his teammates, and one tried to humiliate him using his quirk, which was turning his hand into rock, and he hit Izuku's stand. But he didn't even flinch, he just looked at his teammate with pity while holding the rose in his mouth. Izuku, you're done behaving like an animal, since I don't mean to offend you. But you're making a fool of yourself, Izuku said with a smile as everyone started to laugh and the teacher intervened before a fight started. But suddenly the classroom door opens and it was the principal, very worried. Director, Izuku just got a call and it's your father, said the director, and Izuku got serious, and he takes his things and jumps out the open window and starts running at the speed of light, while emanating his cosmos, leaving everyone in shock since they never imagined that Izuku had a quirk. Izuku, upon arriving home, which only took less than 1 second, and he entered his parents' room, all desperate, where his mother was crying while a very weak Albafica was about to die. With what was left of his strength, he asked his son to come closer, and Izuku listened to him. Albafica, Izuku, let me tell you that I'm proud, cough cough, you've become a true poison rose. I'm very proud of what you're going to become. Izuku, father, save your strength, please, said Izuku desperately, since he did not want his father to die. But it was the sad truth. Albafica was dying because Izuku's poison managed to affect him. Albafica, Izuku, nothing will stop me from leaving. I only have to say that I'm leaving you the Pisces armor that your predecessor Aphrodite used, and I'm leaving you my precious Pisces armor, and that you take care of your mother and the baby, he said, smiling while closing his eyes to never open them. Izuku became alarmed and even tried to shake him to wake him up, but nothing happened until many roses appeared from his father's body. Izuku was hugged by his mother while he cried with her, for the loss of her husband/father, teacher. That day was the saddest because the most beautiful, attentive and brave knight of the 88 Pisces stars, Albafica, had died. But he died with a smile, thinking that his son would achieve great things as the new Pisces Knight. Izuku was extremely bored at school, since that morning his mother had gone to the doctor to find out about his situation, while the homeroom teacher arrived to give the news. Teacher, well guys, since you are in 3rd year of high school, it is time for you to decide what you want to do. But I know that many of you want to be heroes, he said while throwing the papers in the air, making all the kids use their quirk except a young man of beautiful appearance with a rose in his mouth looking out the window because he felt that something was about to happen and that would change everything. Teacher, well, it says here that someone from our school is going to take the UA exam, and that's Izuku. The teacher saying that, all the students began to laugh since they never saw Izuku use his quirk, thinking he was quirkless for not having a power. But the truth is Izuku could freely use his cosmos to silence his classmates. But Albafica warned him that he should never use his power for personal purposes and that he should only use it to protect others, since that is the way of life of the knights. Albafica told him about Izuku's predecessor, Aphrodite of Pisces, who for a long time was blind because he believed that the strongest should have all the power and subdue the weak. But a bronze knight opened his eyes, thanking him for a new perspective of what a golden knight really is, and that the true knights of Athena are those who fight for peace and justice. Something that, in the words of Albafica, should always have been that way, and that ideal should never have been accepted within the sanctuary, expelling him from the order. Izuku just looked at his teammates, and one tried to humiliate him using his quirk, which was turning his hand into rock, and he hit Izuku's stand. But he didn't even flinch. He just looked at his teammate with pity while holding the rose in his mouth. Izuku, you're done behaving like an animal, since I don't mean to offend you. But you're making a fool of yourself, Izuku said with a smile as everyone started to laugh and the teacher intervened before a fight started. But suddenly the classroom door opens and it was the principal, very worried. Director, Izuku just got a call and it's your father, said the director, and Izuku got serious, and he takes his things and jumps out the open window and starts running at the speed of light, while emanating his cosmos, leaving everyone in shock since they never imagined that Izuku had a quirk. Izuku, upon arriving home, which only took less than 1 second, and he entered his parents' room, all desperate, where his mother was crying while a very weak Albafica was about to die. With what was left of his strength, he asked his son to come closer, and Izuku listened to him. Albafica, Izuku, let me tell you that I'm proud, cough cough, you've become a true poison rose. I'm very proud of what you're going to become. Izuku, father, save your strength, Please, said Izuku desperately, since he did not want his father to die. But it was the sad truth. Albafica was dying because Izuku's poison managed to affect him. Albafica, Izuku, nothing will stop me from leaving. I only have to say that I'm leaving you the Pisces armor that your predecessor Aphrodite used, and I'm leaving you my precious Pisces armor, and that you take care of your mother and the baby, he said, smiling while closing his eyes to never open them. Izuku became alarmed and even tried to shake him to wake him up, but nothing happened until many roses appeared from his father's body. Izuku was hugged by his mother while he cried with her, for the loss of her husband/father, teacher. That day was the saddest because the most beautiful, attentive and brave knight of the 88 Pisces stars, Albafica, had died. But he died with a smile, thinking that his son would achieve great things as the new Pisces Knight. There was sadness and tears as both Narumi and Izuku were sobbing because they lost their husband, father, and teacher. After several minutes of crying uncontrollably, Izuku looked sadly at the letter with a video on the bed where his late father was. So he calls his mother to at least see it, and she agrees, putting the video, and it showed Aphrodite. Albafica. Well, hello family. If you are watching this video, it means my time has come, so I just have to say something. Izuku, I am proud of you. You achieved something incredible, and that was that you managed to kill me with your poison. That is to say, you surpassed your teacher, and you became a delicate-looking but at the same time very poisonous rose. Son, I want you to know that even though I am dead, my spirit will always be with you, since when you wear the Pisces armor, I want you to remember that your father will always be with you, he said with slight tears. Izuku, seeing this, cried for everything his father told him, and at the same time he was happy, while Narumi just continued watching the video. Albafica. Well, Narumi, first, I am very grateful for giving me what I adore the most in these moments of life, and it was a great family. I know that in the past I may have made mistakes, but you did not leave my side, rather you gave me support and a purpose. Also, I know that you carry the fruit of our love, that's why I'm sorry to leave you alone, but I will not leave like a coward. So a long time ago I quit my job, and all the money I earned I put in a savings account in the bank so that you do not have to work for a while. I know you like being a heroine, but our children need you more than anything. The baby will need his mother and older brother, said Albafica, while Narumi was in shock since she had not told anyone that she was pregnant, and Izuku was also in shock since he would be an older brother. Albafica. Well, and I know that the last part may be demanding, but I ask you with all my heart that for the last time you grant me something, and that is to build me a temple like the one I had when I was the Knight of Pisces. I know it's asking a lot, but at least I would love to die near something familiar and next to many roses, he said. Narumi was thinking about how to get the money until he remembered that the hero Cementos owed him a favor, so he already knew he had the way to build a Pisces temple. Albafica. I almost forgot, Izuku. The armor is in the field of demonic roses. If you want to claim it, it is at your disposal. Now it is your turn for the most beautiful new knight between heaven and earth to be born. I want you to show those who did not have faith in you the way in which you flourished and became a brave warrior, said Aphrodite, crying as the lamp went out. End of video. Izuku had a lost look, and now he didn't know how to react, but he just sighed as he approached the door, being watched by his mother. Narumi, where are you going? Asked the mother, a little worried. Izuku, well, I have a lot of things to think about, but I'll go to the rose field to get my armor. By the way, congratulations on your pregnancy, said Izuku with his typical smiles. Narumi just smiled happily and hugged her son. Narumi, you know, since I became your mother I was proud of all your achievements. So Pisces, Izuku, go get your armor, said the heroine with slight tears. Izuku left the house, walking until he reached the flower garden where the armor was. Izuku calmly enters the rosebush, since the poison did not affect him, and places himself in a prayer position. Izuku, O legendary armor that has been used by the most beautiful and strong knights, I ask you to give me your strength and help me fight against those who seek evil for the innocent. I ask you to help me in my fight, he said while emanating his golden cosmos, and the armor also releases its cosmos that connects with Izuku's. That is why I ask you to fight by my side. By my Pisces, Izuku said with determination, and the armor gives off a powerful shine as it separates and joins its new wearer. Chapter 8. Izuku was contemplating the shine of his new armor as he comes out of the flower field. Narumi, seeing this, is only filled with happiness while touching her belly. Narumi, let's give all our support to your brother, what do you think? She said while touching her belly. After a while, Midnight had managed to get her partner, the hero Cementos, to build a replica of the temple that her late husband looked after. Izuku is surprised when he sees the temple, but he takes out a rose and throws it to the ground. When the rose falls, it multiplies into many real demonic roses. Izuku, now with the Pisces armor, entered the temple and left Albafica on an altar while his mother was far behind in a black dress, very far from the real demonic roses. Izuku, now Albafica of Pisces, it is time for you to stop fighting. Your time has come to rest eternally. Your family implores you to find peace, he said with slight tears, but he feels a powerful breeze hitting the demonic roses, drawing Izuku's attention, and one of the roses falls into his hand. Izuku looked at the rose with nostalgia, so he placed it in his mouth, while leaving the temple where Albafica rested. After that day, even though it bothered him, Izuku returned to school where his classmates asked him many questions about what kind of quirk he had and how it worked, but Izuku completely ignored them since they weren't worth his time. After that, Izuku runs away from home every night to go to Dagobah Beach, where there was a lot of garbage, since that is the perfect place to train a new technique he wants to create. Izuku, let's see if this time, he said while raising his cosmos while taking out a rose, turning it blue. Dagger roses, throwing them in the trash. Well, it consumes less energy than I thought. Then he comes up with the idea of developing another technique. So with his cosmos he turns the white rose into a golden one, and when he throws it, it creates a huge explosion of light that disintegrates a lot of garbage around it. Izuku, well, I'll call it the Rose of Discord. It's a perfection, but it has its risks like the waste of energy. I have to learn to master this new technique, he said with motivation and panting to continue with his training. After that event, about 6 months of training passed where Izuku practiced all his attacks. He had cleaned the beach that was previously covered in garbage with his new techniques and his cosmos. Currently we find Izuku looking at the horizon while he was immersed in his thoughts that he did not realize that he was being observed by a black-haired girl. Izuku felt like they were watching him to see a girl approaching, but since he didn't want to be with other people for the moment, and especially not be seen with his armor, he decided to escape using his cosmos and jumps onto a building to get away from the place. The black-haired girl looked at the beautiful green-haired boy in surprise, as she wanted to know if he was the one who cleaned this entire area. But what shocked her the most was that she swore she saw that the boy was wearing golden armor, but it was surely her imagination. With Izuku he arrived at a building and stayed there while the armor disappeared from his body, and he stored it in his Pandora box. Izuku thought it would be uncomfortable to walk with the Pisces Pandora box, so he comes up with an idea that might be brilliant, and the idea was to compress the Pandora box with his cosmos so that it takes on a new appearance. It wasn't easy for him, and he almost fainted from using so much power, but he managed to compress and give a new look to the Pandora voice, which now has a bracelet with the symbol in the middle. Izuku suddenly receives a call that was from his mother. Izuku, hello mother, what's wrong? He said, a little worried about his mother, who was 7 months pregnant, and apparently a girl was coming soon. Narumi, since I knew you were training, I wanted to remind you that today is the UA exam, so if you don't want me to punish you while I burn your precious flowers, I recommend you go take the test, said the heroine, very annoyed and a little upset. Izuku just shivered, and his maximum speed, which was that of light, reached the school in half a second when they were about to open. When Izuku entered, instead of falling, he remained immersed in his thoughts since he knew that his ex-brother and best friend would also take the test, so when he entered, he sat at one end to avoid attracting attention while the other applicants arrived to take the test. Once all the participants arrived, a hero appeared to give the explanation. Present Mike, are you ready? Asked the professional hero, but all the participants remained silent. Present Mike, how boring, said the hero as he began to give the explanation, but while he was paying attention he was only looking at the rose in his hand, causing a boy to look at him and get upset. Before Present Mike explained the 4 and 5 robots, a blue-haired boy spoke. Excuse me sir, I'm Tenya Lita and the brochure says there are 5 robots, and I only explained 3. If it's a printing error, you should feel ashamed, being the most prestigious school in the country, and you pointing at Izuku. Izuku just turned his gaze to see the boy who was making an unnecessary fuss. Lita, you haven't stopped looking at that rose and you didn't pay any attention to the teacher who was going to explain the test to us. Tell me, are you a saboteur? If so, I'm asking you to leave. He said, annoyed, and Izuku just looked at him. Izuku, are you done? he asked without any emotion. Lita, he said confused. Izuku, I asked you, have you finished bothering Four Eyes? For your information, the teacher was going to explain the 4 and 5 robot to us, but you were the saboteur who interrupted him, and so you know I have my way of paying attention, and let it be clear to you. Stop focusing on the defects and problems of others and focus on your own, he said, releasing a slight murderous instinct that scared Lita, and he sat down, causing some mockery. Present Mike was getting annoyed that no one was paying attention to him, so he came up with something and used his quirk to get attention. Present Mike, OHYHHHHHH, shouted the hero so everyone would cover their ears and pay attention to him again. Present Mike, well, since I have your attention, let me explain that the 4th robot is worth 0 points. I recommend not facing it, but the 5th robot is worth 300 points. But it is not advisable to attack it since it is programmed to kill, said the hero, scaring everyone except Izuku, who knew that he could really beat that robot. After all, he was trained by Albafica. After finishing the written exam, the students were taken to a place where they were going to take the practical test, and to Izuku's misfortune, he could see his brother, and honestly he wanted so much to throw a bloody rose at him. But he could also see the boy who wanted to recriminate him. Izuku honestly tried to get away to start the test, and suddenly the doors open and he is the first to run out, leaving everyone confused except Katsuo, who still ran away but annoyed since he never liked that they always took over and overtook him. Izuku was looking for some robots, and when he saw them he just threw a black rose that when it touched the robot it was immediately destroyed. He also used his cosmos to give better attacks, sending some robots and students flying with his cosmos. In a room where the teachers were watching the performance of the UA candidates, Nizu, what do you think of this new generation? Asked a rodent that had the shape of both a bear and a dog. Cements, honestly, I like the explosion boy, said a hero, seeing Bakugo's performance in destroying the robots. But there was also a heroine in the room with an 8-month pregnant belly. Midnight, I like the rose boy, said the heroine, a little tired, drawing everyone's attention as they noticed how a green-haired boy raised a golden aura while throwing some roses. But to everyone's surprise the roses destroyed the robots. Eraserhead, who is that boy? Asked a hero with many dark circles and red eyes, interested. Almight, here it says that his name is Izuku Kuyama. Here it says that his quirk is called Cosmos, and according to the information here it says that it allows him to do many techniques and improve the 5 senses to a high level, he said, surprising everyone. Nizu, it seems we have a prodigy. But let's see how it turns out if we release the bad guy, said the director, who pressed a small button that releases the 5 robot. Nizu, besides, Midnight, you shouldn't be here since you're about to give birth. It's not safe for you to be here, said the director, worried about the heroine. Midnight, I'm sorry, director, but the truth is, I promised my baby's father that I would be present when a certain person shows his true power. Nizu, Midnight, let me tell you that I congratulate you for what you said. But if I'm honest, I was surprised to find out that you were pregnant, and more than ever you told us the name of the father of your baby, said the director, drawing everyone's attention. Midnight, well, the truth is that several years ago we remember the incident in a house where there was a fire, said the heroine, drawing everyone's attention. Almight, I remember that according to what some officers and heroes said there was no one in the house. But they were wrong because a man entered the house and left before it exploded with a child on his back. Midnight, well, it seemed strange to me to know how the child ended up inside the house, so I went to the hospital to try to find out what happened, but when I entered the child's room, that's when I met him, the first man who, just with his beauty, made me fall madly in love. Your father, sweetness, said the heroine, touching her enormous belly. Nizu, but what happened to the child from that fire? Asked the director curiously. Midnight, well, it turns out that the child told me what happened and that he suffered abuse from his family for not yet awakening his quirk. You know that there are special cases that awaken after the age of 4. But what his family did to him was tie him up and set fire to the house with the child inside, and my late husband was the one who saved him, said the heroine, leaving everyone in shock. Eraserhead, but if that was the case, what happened to his parents? Asked the hero, very annoyed, since no person, let alone a child, deserved to die like that. Midnight, for a long time I tried to find their whereabouts. The truth is as if the earth had swallowed them. Nizu, well, what happened to the boy? The director asked impatiently. Midnight, Well, when I found out what the child suffered, it hurt me so much that I made a very important decision, and that was to adopt him, and then he was trained by the man I fell in love with, who later became my husband and father of my children," said the heroine, and everyone was in a great silence until the director spoke. "Nizu, are you telling me your son is taking the test?" the director asked. "Midnight, of course, since I had to threaten the thing she loves most to get her to take the test. You know that mothers are capable of doing anything for the sake of our children, Almight. But Midnight, according to what you said about your husband, how did he die?" the hero asked, intrigued, opening an old wound in Midnight, who, upon hearing the question, only cried, alarming everyone. "Midnight, sniff sniff sniff, my husband died of poisoning," said the heroine, crying. Everyone there wanted to know what happened, but a noise caught everyone's attention, and it was that the green-haired young man was holding a black rose in his hand that stopped the 5 robots' fist. Izuku's POV. Izuku thought, "How annoying, there aren't even strong robots that can give me some battle. Sometimes I miss the beatings you gave me, father," with melancholy while he was on a roof looking at the clouds. But he couldn't continue with what he was doing since it was doing nothing, since he had 45 points, and he was already bored of having fought with the weak robots that couldn't even withstand a blow from his black roses or his bare hand. A huge bang is heard where Izuku could see the same black-haired girl who was going to be hit by the 5 robot. The girl was very scared and just closed her eyes to receive the blow that never came, because when she opened her eyes she only saw the same beautiful young man, only this time, to the girl's amazement, he was just standing there with a black rose in his hand, as if nothing had happened. "Izuku, it's clear that you're not gentle with the beautiful flowers. But don't worry, it will be a pleasure to destroy you," he said while raising his cosmos, and it moves the black rose to one side and then throws it at the robot, and it multiplies and attacks the robot. Piranha roses. The teachers were in shock as just that one student destroyed the robot with a single black rose. "Nizu, what was that attack?" "Since I saw that the rose the student was holding multiplied and pierced the robot." "Midnight, that attack is the piranha roses, since these are the dangerous roses, since everything they touch is dismembered just like a piranha." "Almight, it seems you know a lot about that student and more about the attack he carried out," he said, but the answer he heard left him in shock like the others. "Midnight, of course I know him. After all, my husband dedicated himself to training our son," said the heroine simply. All the teachers were now in such a great shock that it was hard for them to get out, since the heroine had confirmed that the green-haired boy was the child she adopted and was trained by her late husband. With the green-haired boy, he just stood looking at the destruction caused by the robot. Then he gave his hand to the black-haired girl, while he had a rose in his mouth. Now Momo had undoubtedly discovered that the boy she had seen on the beach with such a beautiful face was the one in front of her. "Izuku, I'm sorry, beautiful lady, but I have to go. See you later," he said elegantly, and takes a huge jump and falls on top of a building, and that was when President Mike announces that the test was over. Chapter 9. Izuku was in his rose garden while in the lotus pose as he tried to find peace. But suddenly the pro-heroine honks a horn, letting Izuku know that his mother was calling him. After that, Izuku gets up and goes home to be greeted by a hug from his mother. "Narumi, what a troublesome boy. I'm glad you're okay," said the professional heroine, hugging her son. "Izuku, I guess you saw what I did to that robot, right?" Izuku said with his head down. "Narumi, yes, and I'm sorry, but someone had to see your performance, and I'm glad you were able to master all of your father's techniques," said the professional heroine while hugging her son. "Izuku, you know, I found him today saying that Narumi gets a little scared since she didn't want her son to suffer again." "Izuku, calm down. I don't want revenge. I'll just use him as bait to guide me to those people," he said, a little annoyed. Narumi thought quickly to change the subject, and something occurred to her. "Narumi, hey brat, who is the girl?" said the heroine, laughing mockingly while Izuku just blushed and turned his head to the side. "Izuku, a girl I saved because she asked," he said, but suddenly realized that he gave his mother the perfect weapon to annoy him. "Narumi, well, I wanted to know the name of my little baby's future wife," said the woman, hugging Izuku, and he realized something. "Izuku, you miss him, right?" he said with slight tears, and the woman cried in his chest while he searched for strength to speak. "Narumi, sniff sniff sniff, you know very well that I miss him too much, but I still wish that at least I could meet his baby," said the woman, crying inconsolably while Izuku hugs her. "Izuku, you know very well that, although he is dead, His spirit will always be with us and will protect us, he said while Narumi stopped crying and he accompanies his mother to the living room while she relaxes. He prepares a meal. 2 quiet weeks had passed where Izuku was always in his flower garden in the lotus pose meditating, since it was a good way to pass the time and train how to elevate his cosmos and keep it under control. But one day Narumi had sounded the horn and Izuku left his flower garden and went to his house. Upon arriving, Narumi gave him an envelope and he noticed that it was so. He goes to his flower garden and looks at the projector showing a kind of rodent, a bear and a dog. Hello, I am the director of UA Nizu and you may wonder what I am. Well, let's say I'm not a dog or a mouse and a polar bear. We just wanted to inform you, young Izuku, that I had successfully passed the written exam, but the practical one left us all impressed. Even when you destroyed the 5th robot, you were the only one who did it with the intention of helping that girl who was in trouble and showed what it means to be a hero, and it is to give everything to save others. So congratulations on having passed the exam and having entered the Hero Academy, said the director, making Izuku have some tears. Take some flowers and make a bouquet of roses, and leaves the rosebush before the eyes of his mother, who was crying with happiness, and noticed how her son with that bouquet was entering the forest along a path of demonic roses, and she knew that she was going to give her the news. So Izuku, after 5 minutes walking, he arrives at the Pisces temple where his late father and teacher rests. Izuku approaches a bed made of flowers where he places the rosebush next to his father. Izuku, sensei, I know you already know, but let me tell you some news. The first is that it is already known that the baby will be a boy, and according to the studies he will be born healthy, and I swear that as my duty as a brother it will be to protect him. The second is that I already took the UA exam, and as you can imagine I passed successfully, but also something bad is that I was able to see Katsuo, and I am truly afraid that my past will take away everything I managed to achieve, he said the last thing, crying and afraid. But in the temple a breeze hits the flowers hard, making them dance, and Izuku looks at their beauty while they dance in the air, and he could only smile since he knew that his teacher, although he is dead, his spirit will always help his family. After 30 minutes of being in the temple, Izuku was returning home. He felt that something was going to happen, so he runs, and it only took him 1 second, since when he entered he could see his mother on the floor in a lot of pain, and he worriedly approaches her, assuming the worst. Narumi, Izuku, my child, the baby is being born, said the heroine with pain. So Izuku goes to his mother's room and takes out a diaper bag with several things. So he comes out with the bag and carrying his mother, who told him to go to UA, that she knew a person who could help her. So Izuku ran with his mother at his top speed that looked like a golden flash that headed to UA. When they had arrived, the security alarms had detected an intruder, and the director along with All Might and the nurse recovery girl went out only to see a flash that appeared, revealing the same green-haired young man. But everyone was surprised since he was carrying the heroine Midnight, and she showed immense pain on her face. Izuku approached the principal to see if they could help him. Izuku, director, I'm sorry for the inconvenience, but she insisted on coming here, he said, worried about his mother. Nizu, very well. Take her to the infirmary while this gentleman, pointing to the skeletal All Might, guides you where we can treat her, said the director, serious, and at the same time worried for Midnight's life, since he, along with All Might and 3 other heroes, knew the identity of the sensual heroine. Izuku accompanied the man who looked like a skeleton and took his mother to the infirmary, and he and recovery girl were preparing everything to welcome his brother. RC. Very well, Midnight bid, said the old woman, making the heroine suffer such incredible pain that she cursed her deceased husband. Narumi, damn Albafica, I swear that if I ever see you in the afterlife I will kill you, said the heroine with great pain while she was giving birth to her baby. In the afterlife, Albafica was watching everything and was very scared of his wife, and at the same time happy that his son was going to be born. So just this once he intervened, and with his cosmos he began to make a small bracelet with a name for the baby and sent it to Izuku without him noticing. RC, come on, Midnight, I can already see your head. Please push, said the old woman, causing the heroine to be in a lot of pain. Midnight. The woman screamed in pain as she let out a long sigh of tiredness, while a baby's cry was heard. Izuku reacted quickly and used his cosmos to heal his mother 100%. She feels something warm that gives her strength again, and she feels less pain while the old woman cleans the baby. The nurse gives her baby to Narumi, who, when she looks at him, tears of happiness shed, and Izuku just looked at that scene with a slight tear, and he was about to turn around and go buy something for his sister, but his mother stopped him. "Narumi, hey, don't you think you'll meet your little brother?" said the heroine, smiling still with tears while giving her son to Izuku, and he takes it while she opens her eyes and just looks blurry, but smiles. That lovely scene was interrupted by the skeleton, who came in to intrude, but calmed down when he saw the baby. "Almight, sorry if I killed the moment, but what will the baby's name be for the record?" said Almight, a little scared since Izuku raised his golden cosmos, and his face promised a lot of pain. Narumi calmed her son, and the old woman who was there also said the baby's name, and what the heroine said made everyone fall on their backs. "Narumi, I'm sorry, but due to many things I couldn't think of a name for you, sweetness," said the heroine while hugging her baby. Izuku reached into his pocket and pulled out a beautiful gold bracelet with the Pisces medallion, and he looked at the back and saw that the bracelet had a beautiful name. Izuku thought, "Orpheus, it seems you didn't miss the birth of your son, sensei," he thought as he shed a few tears. "Izuku, Mom, I think someone warned you that you would forget your name, so he thought it for you," he said, giving the necklace to Narumi, and upon seeing the medallion, she begins to cry while hugging her children. Narumi thought, "Did you really never leave me alone, right, Albafica?" the heroine thought nostalgically, remembering her late husband. In the real world, Izuku hugged his mother and little brother, while the heroine said a few words. "Narumi, I truly love you, Izuku. Orpheus, I love you with all my heart," said the woman, crying, hearing a smile from her daughter. Both All Might and Recovery Girl watched that scene, happy for the family, although the symbol of peace was a little sad since his high school years at UA he felt love for the heroine. But he never dared to tell her his feelings, so he could only suffer in silence while he wished the family much happiness. With Izuku with a camera in his bag, which was an instant camera, he takes 2 photos of his little brother with his mother, so he takes the 2 photos while leaving one with his mother and taking the other to Albafica as a souvenir. Izuku approached his mother, and had told her where he was going, and she was happy, nodding, giving her son permission to go give the photo to her husband. Izuku left the room, leaving All Might intrigued, who had a doubt where the boy was going since it seemed strange to him that the boy was not staying with his mother and little brother. Instead, he left the infirmary and took a slow walk until he reached the Pisces temple and left some photos on an altar where he was. But the most recent was a photo they took when Izuku was 10 years old and everyone was at a family picnic. Izuku with a smile places the photo of his mother and sister next to the other photos and leaves again to UA. Chapter 10. Izuku was getting his things ready while his mother was feeding his brother, and before saying goodbye he approached her. "Narumi, well, Sochi, I just wish you have a good day. Also avoid poisoning someone," said the heroine, smiling, while Izuku only remembered one time that he only killed a villain by throwing the real demonic roses at him just for insulting his mother. Izuku gave his mother a kiss on the cheek and his little brother a kiss on the forehead before walking off to UA. On the way, many women stared at Izuku and they just blushed because they thought he was gorgeous, an Adonis, while some men thought he was a transvestite because of his girlish face. Izuku hadn't minded those kinds of looks since he got used to it, but he didn't care much. Upon arriving at UA, Izuku walked calmly until he heard a voice. "Momo, you are the boy of the Black Rose. I really thank you very much for having saved me." A girl had said that Izuku, when turning to see, was the same girl who had seen him with his armor, and the one he had saved. "Izuku, it's a pleasure to see you again, miss. And you don't have to thank me since it's my duty to help the defenseless," he said as he bent down and kissed the girl's hand, who blushed at such an act since in front of her she had a true gentleman. "Izuku, nice to meet you. I'm Izuku," he said as he stood up and gave the girl a tender smile. "Momo, the pleasure is mine, Izuku. My name is Momo Yayorosa," said the black-haired girl, smiling, and Izuku could see that smile and just think how cute it was. Izuku, when he happens to look at his watch, notices that he was getting very late. "Izuku, damn, it's getting late," he said as he took out a paper that said where it was his turn, and the girl noticed it too. "Momo, by pure chance you are in room 1, right?" said the girl, smiling, and Izuku, a little blushed, just nods his head. "Momo, well, it turns out I'm going to that room. Why don't you tell me while we're walking about how you were able to defeat that robot with just a black rose?" said the girl excitedly. Izuku, "Okay," he said as he started walking, followed by Momo. "Well, for me it was easy to beat the robots since the roses I used are special." "Momo, what do you mean by specials?" the girl asked, very intrigued. "Izuku, Well, among my roses, the black rose is the most dangerous since it destroys everything it touches. As if it were a piranha eating meat, he said, surprising the girl. Momo, you're saying those things are like piranha. But I've never seen a type of rose like that, said the black-haired girl. Izuku, that's because those roses are spatial. But speaking of power, I think I should know what your quirk is like since I told you my power. But to be fair, why don't you tell me about your quirk, he said while smiling. Momo blushes when she sees that smile, thinking about what a handsome boy he is. But she comes back to reality a little blushing. Momo, well, my quirk is creation. It allows me to create objects from my skin, said the girl while Izuku just looked at the girl analytically. Izuku, let me guess, to be able to use your quirk you need to have a lot of energy and show skin, right? He said, revealing one of the girl's greatest weaknesses. Momo, yes, it's true, said the girl, very embarrassed. Izuku, but you know that can be fixed if you dedicate yourself to training your power, said the broccoli, giving a red rose to Momo, and he took it out as if it were magic. The two boys had inadvertently entered the room, and Izuku only saw his ex-brother and best friend arguing with the robot that caught his attention, and saw how the girl just looked at her brother with disgust while she went to sit somewhere far away. Izuku wasn't attracted to that, so he went to a seat near the window that had a beautiful view and sat down. While many girls thought he was beautiful, and some jealous boys thought he was gay because of his very delicate face like a woman's, and also because he had a rose in his hand while watching her. Sorry for the inconvenience, but tell me, are you gay? Said a pink-skinned girl with horns. Izuku just sighed again, as it was starting to bother him a little that he was mistaken for a gay man because he had a fine and delicate face like a rose. Izuku, no miss, I'm not from that side, he said, a little annoyed, and the girl noticed it. Mina. My name is Mina Ishido, and I apologize, said the girl, bowing while Izuku looked at her. Izuku, it's okay. I'm used to this kind of thing, so don't worry, and my name is Izuku, said Izuku calmly, calming the girl. Mina. I understand, Izuku, but a question about why you have such a delicate face seems like the girl couldn't continue since she had a rose in her hand. Izuku, a rose, right? Well, it is said that roses are harmless. But what they don't know is that they are the most dangerous flowers of all, said the green-haired boy, leaving Mina surprised, even more so because she had a rose in her hand. Aizawa. If your friends come to play, I recommend that you go. This is the hero course, said a man on the ground while he had a sleeping bag giving the appearance of a caterpillar. Aizawa, well, let me introduce myself. My name is Aizawa Shota, and I will be your homeroom teacher for the next 3 years. I know it's sudden, but put this on and go out to the patio, said the caterpillar who left the classroom. Izuku, thoughts? Interesting, I think this year will be interesting, won't it, master, said Izuku while looking at his Pisces pendant. In the men's locker room everything was normal, until a certain pervert did something that bothered the Pisces gentleman. Mineta, guys, look, a gift from our senpais, said Mineta, pointing to the hole in the women's locker room. Of course, some like the idiot Kaminari supported him, and others would have wanted to support him if it weren't for the fact that they felt tremendous fear when they saw Izuku violently raising his golden aura. Kirishima. Idiot, stop, said the redhead, very scared since he wanted to avoid at least Izuku, who raised his aura, from killing Mineta. Mineta, nonsense. I want to see the beautiful figure of the pink girl, the floating panties of the invisible girl, the unexpected tits of the frog girl, the beautiful hips of the brown-haired girl, and finally the enormous tits of the black-haired girl and the blonde girl. Mineta didn't know that he had killed his own grave when he said that while Izuku was behind him and all the men were scared by the violent aura that he emanated. Mineta felt absolute fear when he saw that the boy who was supporting him was pointing, very scared for him to turn around, and when he did he saw hell itself, since the green-haired boy with a girl's face that he considered gay was behind him, while in his hands he had a black rose and was raising a golden energy that was demanding blood. In the women's locker room, a girl with headphones said that the little idiot wanted to spy on them, and she was waiting for the moment when she would make him poke her in the eye with her earpiece. But then she heard the real terror. Mineta, for whatever you want, let me go and I'll give you the entire porn gallery I have, he said pleadingly. But that annoyed Izuku more. Izuku, it seems that you have not been given any manners lessons. A real man, and even more so a gentleman, should not perform such a degrading act by seeing a woman's body in that way, so I will gladly teach you manners, he said, annoyed, with a smile. Mineta, please wait. Izuku, piranha roses. Izuku threw the black rose, but Mineta believed that it would not do anything serious to him. A mistake. When Izuku threw the rose it multiplied, and when it touched Mineta it left him very injured and piercing the wall, scaring the girls. Izuku, let this teach you to never try to see a woman like that again, much less to ask for forgiveness by offering me porn. That's for idiots, understood? He said while emanating his cosmos, and a very scared and hurt Mineta nodded. The girls were impressed when the boy defended them in a gentlemanly manner, but the black-haired girl blushed since she finally found a gentleman, her gentleman. Bakugo and Katsuo didn't pay attention to that, but that attack did catch their attention since a simple rose could destroy a wall, and even leave someone badly injured. Izuku, taking pity on the stupid pervert, takes out a pink rose and sticks it in Mineta's chest. Mineta got scared, but then he felt his wounds heal, so when he got up without feeling pain he looked at Izuku in terror, and he just went to a corner to cry and be in the fetal position. Izuku, a little bored, leaves the locker room and all the men except 4 stared at him, very scared. Kirishima, now that was manly. Izuku leaves the locker room and walks away, arriving at the training field. He looks at his chain and looks at the sky. Once everyone arrived, Aizawa explained that they had to do a quirk test just like the original story, but instead of using Bakugo, he used Izuku. Aizawa, you Izuku Kiyama, how much was your record at school throwing the ball without your quirk? Izuku, 120 meters, he said, causing everyone to be in shock since they never thought someone would achieve that distance, and 2 idiots thought he was bragging. But the truth is that Izuku achieved that distance thanks to the physical training that Albafica gave him. Aizawa, well, this time you'll have to throw this ball with your quirk, said Mom Caterpillar, throwing the ball to Izuku, and he heads in a circle. When Izuku prepared to throw the ball, he began to raise his cosmos, causing a large wave of wind making everyone move away. But some swore they saw behind Izuku a constellation in the shape of 2 fish. Izuku, set cosmos on fire. Izuku throws with all his strength, this time causing a large wave of wind that sends everyone flying. He throws the ball into the sky, which goes out of orbit. Aizawa looks at his phone and starts to smile. Aizawa, to know your power you must reach the limit. Welcome to the hero class, said Mama Caterpillar while showing Izuku's result, which was infinite. Everyone was surprised, but Katsuo and Bakugo thought that green-haired man with a woman's face looked familiar until they remembered that green-haired man they used to tease as a child and, very annoyed, they launched an attack. Katsuo/Bakugo, damn Deku, how did you get so strong? They both said, but before Izuku could throw the real demonic roses at him, they were stopped by Aizawa and he erased their quirk. Aizawa, hear another tantrum like that and I'll expel you, said Mama Caterpillar very seriously, but his eyes were starting to hurt. Bakugo and Katsuo reluctantly calmed down, but still continued to glare at Izuku with hateful faces. Kirishima, so we can use our power. Mina, this will be fun. Aizawa, so you think this will be fun? Well, we'll make it much more fun. Whoever comes last will be classified as having no potential and I'll expel them, said Aizawa, scaring his students except Izuku since, although he won't admit it, the training he went through with Albafica was like walking through a bush of thorns, but this will be like walking through flowers. Likewise, there were tests in which Izuku stood out most of all in strength, surprising everyone since a boy with 6 arms carried 540 kilograms. But when Izuku tightened the machine it broke, surprising everyone, leaving a final grip of 10 tons. In the speed test, he achieved a time of 0.01 seconds since he had to compete against the girl with legs, finishing in first place. But Izuku started to worry about a blonde girl since she wasn't using her quirk, and he deduced that the last test would be the ball throw, thus touching the girl who tried to use her power. But when she was going to throw the ball her quirk was erased by Aizawa. Aizawa, young shield, are you trying to incapacitate yourself again? Said the serious man, causing Melissa to fall to her knees and shed a few tears, which annoyed Izuku, and he approached and gave her his hand to help her get up. Aizawa, young Izuku, what are you doing? Said the man confused while Izuku ignored him completely. Melissa, because you helped me you'll get into trouble, said the blonde, crying. Izuku, you know, miss, the duty of a gentleman is to help people who need it. Also, I'll tell you something, if you really want to be a heroine, instead of crying, get up and fight all the time, he said, leaving the girl, Aizawa, and the rest of the students surprised. Melissa smiled this time as she wiped her tears and Izuku walked away as she threw the ball again, but concentrating her power on her finger, achieving a great score. The girls looked at Izuku with hearts instead of eyes, since that boy behaved like a knight in shining armor, not only by defending them but also by helping that girl when she needed it most. Aizawa gave the results, with Izuku in first place, while he only snorted since he knew he would come in first, causing jealousy from the terrorist duo. But he saw how depressed Melissa was since she came in last place. But what Aizawa said left them all surprised except Izuku. Aizawa, by the way, the expulsion is a lie, said Aizawa, and everyone except Momo, who already knew it was a lie, but were surprised when Izuku said something that now left them in shock. Izuku, of course not the expulsion if it was true and he was going to expel someone, but since he saw that we had potential he didn't do it. Now everyone was surprised, and even more so Aizawa, since that boy did discover his plan. But he looks at Melissa, who was grimacing in pain, and tells her to go with the nurse while the others go to the room where there were test brochures. In the 1A classroom, everyone was very interested in Izuku's quirk and wanted to ask him questions about how he managed to get infinity just by throwing the ball. Meina, hey, what's your quirk based on? Said the pink girl, very intrigued. Kirishima, yes, that was out of this world, and very manly too. Izuku just ignored them, not because he disliked them but because he didn't want to give too much information until he came up with a big lie. Izuku, my quirk allows me to increase my energy to a certain point where I can draw power to fight, since its function is mostly physical increase, in addition to improving my 5 senses. Izuku had lied since his companions would not understand the power of the cosmos and its importance. Momo found Izuku's explanation strange, since he first told her about the piranha roses and then gave an explanation that his quirk only gave him physical enhancement, so that seemed very strange to her. Already at the exit, Izuku went out for a normal walk only to see his brother walking with 2 other boys, whom he heard were called Lita Tenya and Achiko Uraraka. Izuku did not give much importance to it, so he just walked slowly, but the same girl he met was in a limousine and she saw him walking. Momo, hello Izuku-kun, hey, don't you want me to drop you off at your house? The girl asked, very embarrassed, and what stood out the most was a slight blush she had. Izuku, well, Momo-chan, I appreciate your kindness, said the boy smiling as he got into the limousine. Momo was very happy and everything, but she saw that Izuku's gaze was worried and she noticed it since he was staring at a red rose he had. Momo would find the rose very pretty, but she didn't know that the red one is the poisonous one of all existing flowers, so she wanted to touch it, but Izuku stopped her. Izuku, Momo-chan, what were you thinking of doing? Said the Pisces Knight, holding the hand of the girl, who was immediately embarrassed. Momo, I'm sorry, that rose was so beautiful that I really wanted to touch it, said the girl, very embarrassed. Izuku, Momo, if you value your life, don't touch this rose, said Izuku seriously, and the girl wanted to ask why, but the driver announced that they had arrived at Izuku's house. Izuku, well, Momo-chan, I appreciate you bringing me. See you next time, said the boy, giving her a kiss on the cheek, and now the girl had a heart that was beating 1,000 times an hour. She never met any man who treated her properly. Izuku entered his house only to be greeted by a hug from his mother while carrying Lyra. Izuku, I'm back, Oka-san, he said, hugging his mother. Narumi, yes, I know. Well, son, I want you to tell me if the girl who brought you will be my future daughter-in-law, said the professional heroine with emotion, while Izuku turned red like a tomato, and he very hardly said that that girl was not his girlfriend. Narumi didn't believe him in the slightest, since he behaved exactly like Albafica when they first met, only Albafica was a little less nervous. Chapter 11. The next morning in the hero class they received normal classes that even Izuku found boring, so when lunch arrived he didn't want to eat with his classmates, so he went out to the courtyard where he loved to eat without any noise. Izuku could have continued his relaxing lunch if it weren't for the peace symbol interrupting him. Almight, Shonen, what he's doing here should be in the cafeteria. Izuku, I'm sorry, but I love eating alone since it's hard for me to relate to others, he said while eating. Almight, I understand. Well, I'll leave you alone. See you in the afternoon class, he said, confusing Izuku, and when he wanted to ask he already left. Izuku didn't give it much importance, and as he calmly had his lunch and as recess ended in Class 1A, everyone was waiting for their sensei. Almight, I'm coming in like a normal person, said the symbol of peace, surprising everyone. Izuku, thoughts, what does that have to do with normal? See you, incredible. Almight will teach us. Jiro, he's using his Silver Age sword, the girl said excitedly. Almight, well, I'll give you the combat training class. Bakugo, Training, Katsuo, combat. Both blondes smiled maliciously since they could go back to giving him the old beating routine they gave Deku. But what a bigger mistake. All Might, and for that you will need this, he said while touching a button from which many suitcases came out of the wall. All Might, there are your hero suits, said the symbol of peace, and everyone got excited. But not Izuku, since he could always use the armor freely. But he wouldn't do it if the situation didn't warrant it. After that, in the beta training area, All Might was waiting for his class when almost most of his students come out of a tunnel with their hero costumes. All Might, they say clothes don't make a hero young. But you guys look amazing. Momo, but wait, where is Izuku? Said the girl with the quirk of creating objects, implying that one of her companions was missing. Izuku, no need to worry about me. The footsteps of an armor were heard while Izuku walked slowly, implying that he was the one missing. When Izuku came into the light, some had to cover their eyes as the armor he was wearing was shining, making Aoyama feel very jealous. When everyone regained their sight, they were surprised by Izuku's suit, and it emanated the same golden aura as yesterday. Everyone was surprised to see Izuku wearing that strange suit, and even more so when it was gold, since it seemed interesting to them. Bakugo and Katsuo wanted to make fun of it since they surely saw at first glance that the armor was useless. But what a bigger mistake. Momo was too surprised as she confirmed her suspicion that Izuku was the one who cleaned that beach, and she confirmed it when she saw his suit. All Might, well, since everyone is here, we will do simulation fights. Tsuyu, sensei won't teach us how to fight, the Rama girl asked, intrigued. Mina, she's going to use expulsion like Aizawa sensei, said the pink girl, very intrigued. Lita, how will we divide for combat? Among those were the questions that other students asked, bothering the symbol of peace, who had to ask them to calm down. When everyone calmed down, All Might began to explain how the fights would be and that they were 2 versus 2. He explained that the heroes had to infiltrate a building where the villains had a nuclear weapon and that they had to defeat them in 5 minutes. Note, the teams will be the same except that one will have Izuku and Melissa instead of Uraraka, and the other will have Katsuo and Bakugo. Uraraka will be with Lita. Izuku was paired with Melissa, and it would be the last fight against Bakugo and Katsuo. Upon learning of this, Izuku just sighed, as those 2 idiots were sure to break out of their roles as villains and attack with the intention of killing. When the other fights ended, Izuku just sighed and placed a red rose in his mouth, and together with Melissa they infiltrated the building. Izuku, Melissa-san, I know you want to excel as a hero, but I'm going to ask you to just go for the bomb. Melissa, because, said the girl, discouraged. Izuku, the truth is that they will surely come for me, so I will prevent them from hurting you. But calm down, I will send them to the street where I can fight at ease, since the duty of a knight is to help whoever needs it, and I will help this lady, said Izuku, and Melissa only blushed upon hearing those words. But they could not continue since Bakugo appeared. Bakugo, shine. Bakugo tried to make a surprise attack, but all he achieved was launching an explosion into the air while Izuku grabbed his free arm and slammed him against the ground before kicking him, sending the Muslim to a stall. Izuku turned his head to the right, avoiding a fire fist that was going straight to his face, and then punched Katsuo in the stomach, where he flew out into the street. Izuku walked slowly to where the hole was where Bakugo and Katsuo came out, while the 2 destruction addicts got up hurt and angry because for them the useless Deku beating them up was the most humiliating thing there was. When Izuku left the building, he only found the villains getting up very injured. Izuku, well, villains have 2 options. The first is that you surrender and give up peacefully, or the second is that we fight and I show you the beauty of my roses, said Izuku as he looked at the beauty of a black rose. Bakugo/Katsuo, damn bastard, the 2 villains shouted since they were bothered by the idea that Izuku had a quirk, but they didn't know that Izuku had something better. Izuku, well, it will be the hard way then, said Izuku, still with a smile. That smile bothered Bakugo and Katsuo a lot, and the 2 decided to use their maximum attack. Bakugo pointed his right hand at Izuku, and Katsuo began to expel a lot of fire through his hands and began to compress it to the point of making it look like a small ball. Bakugo, you know something, idiot, if they made this suit with the specifications I gave them, it gives me greater use of my power, which is sweating nitroglycerin. Katsuo, don't forget, Deku, that my power is pyrokinesis, and how I can expel and control fire at will. I can release a great flame if my attack mixes with oxygen. When All Might heard that, he and the other students became very tense, since if those attacks were launched they could kill Izuku. All Might, young Midoriya/Bakugo, if they launch those attacks they will kill young Koyama, he said, very worried, looking at the screen, and saw how Izuku did not worry about that attack. Bakugo/Katsuo, it won't kill him if he dodges it, they both said immaturely, recklessly launching the attack that was a huge explosion and fireball that headed to where Izuku was. Izuku just watched the attack and smiled as he placed the black rose in front. When the attacks hit Izuku, everyone saw a huge smoke screen and assumed the worst had happened. Even Melissa, who didn't give a shit about the mission, was outside sadly looking at that cloud of dust since she thought she had lost the person who helped her. But Bakugo and Katsuo were happy and didn't care if this was a practice. But both of them, when they saw Melissa, formed a sinister smile since they were going to destroy someone else's dreams. All Might, seeing this, was going to interrupt, but he saw something that caught his attention. When Katsuo wanted to throw a flame at Melissa, but when he was about to do it, he saw in front of him a black rose that emanated a golden energy, and when he tried to turn his gaze he was surprised to see something he did not believe possible. Bakugo, upon seeing the print, turns around and looks also surprised and angry at the same time. All hi, the other students, Melissa and Momo, were very surprised since they saw Izuku without any scratches. Rather, he was emanating a golden energy while holding a black rose in his mouth. Izuku, you know you guys are so confident in your attacks that you don't check if your opponent was defeated, he said simply, and that bothered Bakugo and Katsuo a lot. Izuku, by the way, Melissa, you didn't have to worry. Go for the bomb, that these two villains will know how dangerous the beauty of Pisces is, he said while grabbing the rose from his mouth with his hand and raising it forward. Upon hearing those words, Melissa became serious and ran for the bomb. Bakugo and Katsuo didn't want to give importance to Melissa, but they had to do it since they didn't want to lose to Izuku, so the two used their quirk to propel themselves and reach Melissa. But when the two approached, Izuku had thrown a black rose that he had in his other hand, and that made the crazy ones look at him with superiority. Izuku, if you want to go after my partner, you'll have to defeat me, he said with a smile. Bakugo, upon hearing those words, as well as Katsuo, became upset, but Bakugo said some words that left him very hurt. Bakugo, so Deku, you're going to defeat us with some stupid flowers. It's obvious you'll never change, useless. Izuku looked down while smiling since he didn't care if they insulted him, but insulting his flowers was the last straw and he couldn't let it go. Izuku, well, since you insulted my roses, I think I should show you their beauty and danger, so I hope you are prepared, said Izuku as he took the black rose. In the observation room, everyone except All Might and Momo wondered how he could defeat Bakugo and Katsuo with a black rose. But All Might was now very worried, as was Momo, that Izuku would end up killing Bakugo and Katsuo, since the two saw how dangerous black roses were. All Might, young Izuku Deten, wanted to continue, but it was too late. Izuku, piranha roses. Izuku with his cosmos had launched his black rose that multiplied. Katsuo stupidly with his quirk was going to burn one of the black roses, but when he was about to launch a powerful flamethrower, several roses touched his arm, and what surprised everyone was that it was injured to such an extent that it spewed a lot of blood. When the roses hit Bakugo, he tried to avoid them, but it was in vain since the roses damaged the two to a certain point that destroyed their hero suits and left wounds exposed. All the students were in shock except All Might and Momo, who knew that this attack was devastating. But seeing how it affected human flesh made something clear to them: never insult Izuku's roses. Meanwhile, after Melissa found the bomb, the heroes had won, and upon announcing this, stretchers along with some robots took Bakugo and Katsuo, very badly injured, to the infirmary. Izuku and Melissa went to the observation room where everyone started asking Izuku questions. Mina, hey, your quirk is amazing, but you didn't say it was a physical enhancement. Lita, hey, it was very dangerous, launching this attack, and if you had killed them. Kirishima, that golden energy you expelled was very manly. Among these and other questions they threw at Izuku, who could only breathe for a couple of moments to emanate his golden knight aura, along with a bit of killer instinct implying that he wanted silence and respect, which made it very easy for everyone to remain silent. But the most affected was Mineta, who was crying in the fetal position, sucking his finger. Izuku, well, since they're quiet, my quirk allows me to use roses to fight apart from the increase in the 5 senses. But among the roses that I use there are several types, and the ones you saw were the black roses. Those are the piranha roses. Uraraka. But why are they piranha roses? The girl asked, a little confused by the name. Izuku, They are called that way because they are considered to tear everything with just one touch, as an example when I took care of my Netta. By that time everyone had understood the danger of Izuku's roses, even though they knew one of the types of roses they wondered what the others were. This is how the day went when Bakugo and Katsuo had to stay a night in the infirmary due to the wounds from the black roses that not only opened their skin but also tore some muscle fibers and some tissues and ligaments. Luckily for them, Recovery Girl stabilized them and healed their wounds, but when Izuku arrived home his mother welcomed him in a good way. "Narumi, idiot, how could you think of using the piranha roses?" said the heroine while she carried Orpheus and hit him with a frying pan. "Izuku, Oka-san, that's not exaggerating," said Izuku, who got up with a bump on his face seeing his brother like that, and just cries while Narumi calms him down. "Narumi, no, that's not exaggerating. What you did was exaggerate using the piranha roses to attack two of your companions. You almost killed them. You not only opened their skin but you tore some muscle fibers and other things. Izuku, at least you know why I did it. I attacked Bakugo and Katsuo with the piranha roses for insulting the roses and wanting to attack an innocent girl. I don't see what's wrong with showing those two the terror of the Pisces beauty. Narumi, there's nothing wrong with that. In your case I would have done the same if they had insulted you too or your father's memory. But remember that even if you have the power you can't let it guide your actions." Those words made Izuku reconsider since he heard his father tell him how his predecessor, thanks to his power, had the wrong idea that the strongest should have everything. But the truth is that the strongest should protect the weak and innocent. But that night Narumi left Izuku in charge of Orpheus. But something strongly happened. Izuku had decided to show his little brother photos to pass the time. But he couldn't continue if he hadn't seen that through a window many clouds were accumulating, and it started to rain. Izuku stared at those clouds as he could feel something that he only felt from his father, and that was that he could feel a cosmos. But when Izuku felt that cosmos emanating from the storm, the windows of his house broke and he was thrown towards a wall, becoming embedded and in shock. Izuku violently leaves his house and looks at the sky, an image that later disappeared. Izuku in thoughts. Because of a demon they have come here, which means that the very damned Hades has recovered and is coming to unleash chaos, and it's just me against an army. He thought angrily at the idea that a new holy war was going to break out. Chapter 12. Midnight had returned home, but was very scared when she saw the situation. The windows of his house were broken, and not only that, but Izuku also had a very serious face. But he immediately worried about Orpheus but calmed down when he saw him asleep. "Midnight, Sochi just passed," the woman asked in a serious tone, worried by her son's gaze. "Izuku, the earth is in danger. A new holy war will begin very soon," he said with a very serious tone of voice, since he was the only golden knight against the 108 of Hades, 3 judges of hell and the twin gods Hypnos and Thanatos. Midnight was very scared since Albafica revealed the details of the holy war to her, and it must be said that knowing that scared her a lot. But now she was very worried about her son since he is the only golden saint with the power to confront her. Izuku knew very well, thanks to Albafica, the seriousness of unleashing a holy war, so he was really worried about everything. Time skipped to the next morning. Izuku wanted to be the first to arrive, but when he saw that the reporters were asking about Almight, he decided to enter using the speed of the Golden Knight so that they wouldn't bother him. Arriving at the classroom and sitting in his seat and just thinking with his eyes down about what he would have to fight with honor until he had the last drop of life against the specters of Hades. And while he was thinking that, little by little his classmates were arriving. "Kirishima, hey, did you see the news about that storm?" the redhead said to some of his classmates like Mina, Ojiro, and Tokoemi. Mina, if that, according to the news, was an anomaly in the weather, even seeing it scared me a lot because it conveyed death. Ojiro, true, but according to the media the police are investigating what happened. Tokoemi, it's true, but something curious. I swore to see an energy a little similar to the one Izuku uses, but this one was purple with dark and transmitted death, pain and agony according to what you said, right? Dark shadow. A crow-shaped shadow emerged from Tokoemi. Dark. It's true, but Toko, if you can, don't be near that energy opposite to that boy who you're sure isn't a transvestite, said the shadow, trying to annoy both Tokoemi and Izuku. Tokoemi, I told you not to call me that, said Tokoemi, somewhat blushing, and even more so when Seiya let out a slight laugh. Dark. But your mom tells you that. I don't see anything wrong with telling you that, said Dark Shadow, who immediately fell silent and entered Tokoyami since he was scared when he saw Izuku's gaze next to a white rose that made him feel true terror. Izuku, what I thought, said the Pisces Knight, who began to calm down, and that is something that made everyone very nervous, and even some intelligent ones made a mental note, and it was that they should never call Izuku a transvestite. Once they arrived, all the students began talking among themselves about how they felt, until Mother Caterpillar entered the room. Aizawa, good morning, kids. Let me tell you that I saw the fight videos, said Mama Caterpillar, making Izuku sigh as he would hear another scolding for limiting himself. But the truth is that Katsuo and Bakugo wanted to be at least an attempt at a true hero. They should know that they would have to face a powerful enemy. Aizawa, Kayama, let me tell you that you put up a great fight, but I think you shouldn't attack like that. You could have killed them. Izuku, in my defense, they were asking for it since in the test it was allowed to attack, and they did it to kill, and he tells me to exaggerate. Please, I just showed them what happens when someone insults my roses and wants to attack an innocent, said Izuku, a little annoyed. Aizawa, okay, for Bakugo and Katsuo, stop acting like kids since I clearly saw what happened in the video, and let me tell you this, if I wasn't your teacher I would be in favor of the beating Izuku gave you. When Aizawa said that, Bakugo and Katsuo just looked away, very annoyed as they remembered the humiliation Izuku gave them. Aizawa, listen kids, excuse me if I forgot to do this, but the class needs a president, said Aizawa, who put on an earmuff to avoid the noise. Izuku looked at Aizawa confused. But then he understood why he put it on. But it was too late as the whole class screamed. Class 1A, finally a normal activity, everyone shouted, making Izuku have to cover his ears. Kirishima, vote for me. I'll be a manly president. Mina, I promise I'll be the best president. But something angered Izuku when he heard the proposal from one of his classmates, Mineta's. Lie. If you vote for me, I'll make sure that the girls only wear 30cm skirts, said the gray-haired man, earning the hatred of the women. Izuku got so upset that he released his golden knight Cosmos, causing everyone to shut up. Izuku, what were you saying, Mineta-kun, said Izuku while holding a black rose in his hand that made everyone scared. Mineta, when he saw that Izuku had the black rose and Izuku's golden aura claiming his blood, he became scared so much that he went to the corner and cried in the fetal position. Izuku, what I thought, I assure you something. Whoever dares to disrespect one of my companions, I will make them know the terror of Pisces. Izuku said that with his Cosmos affirming his threat, and all the men except two idiots made a mental note, and it was to never provoke Izuku. On the other hand, the women were relieved to hear what Izuku said, but Momo was the only one who thought of some way to be with her knight in shining armor. Aizawa, well, the class president is Melissa Shield with 3 and vice president is Momo Yayorozu with 2 votes. At lunchtime, Izuku was once again quietly alone in the schoolyard, which worried those he liked. Sotsuyu, Momo, Kirishima, Lita, Uraraka, and Kaminari approached him to have lunch, followed by Aizawa, Almight, and his mother. Midnight. Izuku, my boy, I would like to ask you to talk about yesterday's storm, since I talked with All Might and Aizawa about what happened last night at that his friends paid attention to the green-haired boy. Izuku, well, before saying it I asked that what is said here not be released, and I know that Nizu will know from the cameras, right? Receiving a nod from his mother, well, yesterday's storm is a prelude to something big that is approaching. This baffled everyone, except All Might, since minutes before midnight told him about her late husband, at least not about his death. Well, before I start telling you about the storm, I would like my mother to explain to you about my father. Midnight, well, his father was called Albafica de Pisces. He was a golden knight of Athena, the latter strange to many. Surely you will wonder what a knight of Athena is, right? Everyone except Izuku nods. They are an order of warriors who serve Athena, goddess of wisdom and war, protector of the earth. These warriors are under the protection of one of the 88 constellations of the firmament. It is said that they are capable of opening the heavens with their blows. They are brave knights whose power is called Cosmos, the power that Izuku carries. Momo, so, Izuku's father was a knight of Athena? Midnight, that's right, Miss Yayorozu. But those knights do not inhabit our world, since that power has never been seen in it. My late husband, Izuku's father, came from a world where the goddess Athena fought wars against the other gods who wanted to conquer the earth. But after a last war against the god of the underworld Hades, he decided to come to our world to conquer it, since he was tired of always being stopped by his niece Athena. So he proceeds to tell her the story of Albafica in this world and Izuku's training, omitting the Blood Pact. Uraraka, wow, Izuku and a golden knight stars in his eyes. Lita, wow, no wonder Izuku behaves like a gentleman, but it's a bit hard to believe. Izuku, leaving that aside, last night's storm was just the awakening of Hades' army. Almight, Shonen, how bad are those specters? Izuku, the 3 judges of hell alone make the world's #1 villain look like a simple kitten, not to mention the 4 gods of sleep, or the twin gods Hypnos and Thanatos, or Hades himself. And if you want to know how strong the other specters are, they're at least as strong as AFO or Muscular, if you must know. That made most people tense. Izuku, I would at least like for you to train with me so you can withstand the arrival of the other knights. But he couldn't finish speaking because thanks to his cosmos he feels something strange. So he goes to find out what's happening and sees how one of the walls of the UA was being knocked down. All Might, this is bad. Kirishima, what's going on? At that Izuku takes out a black rose. Izuku, interesting, so a villain is coming. I think I won't use my armor, rather I think I'll leave him a big warning, while pointing to the wall that was collapsing, with his black rose. Aizawa, what will you do? Kayama. When the wall fell, Izuku threw his black rose, which multiplied. Izuku, piranha roses. Izuku had thrown the black rose that attacked the monster that caused the hole in the wall, and the confirmation of everything was that a growl was heard that showed that he had hurt the villain. Suddenly Izuku stopped feeling that evil energy, so he knew that he left the villain badly injured. But what he saw was a bunch of reporters entering through the same hole and his teachers by his side leaving while the others arrived to make the reporters leave. 1 hour later the reporters reluctantly left since they did not want to be arrested by the police, and Izuku helped Aizawa and Present Mike to leave since he, with his cosmos, made many of them run away very scared. Aizawa, this gives me a bad feeling. Izuku, we shouldn't let our guard down. At least it wasn't a ghost addressing his circle of trust. Kirishima, Aizabro, I want to train with you. I want to fight by your side. Smiling. Lita, we will fight by your side, friend. Izuku, I swear in front of those who are in front of me, that we will win this holy war, we will protect the innocent and the ideals of peace and justice. That is my oath. As a knight cutting himself with his hand and letting blood fall to the ground, then using his cosmos to heal himself. Everyone is surprised by these words. Aizawa to All Might, this gives me a bad feeling. Don't go to do your hero work tomorrow, and come to USJ with the class. Izuku, sensei, I have a very bad feeling, and Lita, I know this will go against your ideals of hero, but the specters are not just any villain, so they must be killed. Lita, whatever you say, unsure of his ideals of a fair trial. Chapter 13. In the world of Saint Seiya, the reincarnation of Athena had already used the golden fleece on Seiya and managed to awaken him after having received the stab with Hades' sword in the previous holy war. Everyone cheered until Athena spoke. Saori, I will tell you the mission that has been entrusted to us. This is how she told her knights what she did to be able to bring Seiya back to reality. Then the knights bow before her. Shiryu, I Shiryu, former Dragon Knight, swear to serve you as the scales of justice and defend what is fair in your name, Athena. That is why as the Knight of Libra I swear my loyalty to you until death, and I will go to stop Hades. Hyoga, I Hyoga, former Swan Knight, swear to serve you and protect you and freeze those who try to hurt you. That is why as the Knight of Aquarius I swear great loyalty to you until the cosmos of my life goes out, and I join what my partner has said. Ikki, Athena, I truly know that in the past I made many mistakes and I do not deserve to call myself your knight, but you have given me a new opportunity that I will not waste, so I swear that I will fight in your name until my body is torn to pieces and never betray you, so as the Knight of Leo I swear great loyalty to you. Shun, I Shun, ex-Knight of Andromeda, swear to you Athena to protect you no matter what danger it may be. I will fight like a man, like a knight with honor until the last drop of my cosmos, and as the Saint of the Virgin, I swear loyalty to you my goddess and to protect you until the end. Seiya, I, Sagittarius Sey, swear to protect you, Athena, until the end. And joining what my brothers have said, I will go to support you against Hades wherever he may be. Kiki, I Kiki, current Knight of Aries, successor of Mu of Aries, swear to be faithful to you Athena and to protect the innocent for peace and justice. Saori, guys, get up, you shouldn't kneel before me or any other god. So she proceeded to open a portal where only Kiki of Aries could enter, since she sensed that something would happen, and she could only open that portal for one person for now. In the world of BNHA, once in the classroom, everyone talked about what had happened. Melissa decided to name Lita as class president since she knew Sonic's cousin was the right one, so she nominated him as class president. Aizawa: okay guys, for today's practice we'll do rescue training. We'll do it off campus. We're leaving in 15 minutes and we'll be supervising it with All Might, who appears at the door, me and another person. Also, if you want you can bring your suits or not, it's your choice. Get ready. When Aizawa said rescue practice, everyone got excited and went to grab their suits. Once outside the campus, Izuku was not wearing his suit, only Greek-style training clothes. Bakugo and Katsuo noticed this and started making fun of each other. Katsuo: what's up, useless guy? You forgot your golden tin can. Bakugo: or are you afraid that a scratch might come out on that metal-painted gold? Izuku watched as these two were making fun of each other, and most of his classmates wondered why he wasn't wearing his suit. Izuku: I won't give anyone the pleasure of admiring my armor. The same thing happens with Lita and the bus as in the anime. Seiya: you know something, Melissa-san? I always say what I think and your quirk is a lot like All Might, said Seiya, drawing everyone's attention and making All Might and Melissa super nervous. Kirishima: their quirks may be similar, but All Might has more control. But if we talk about an incredible quirk, Izuku takes the prize since the aura he gives off while fighting is very manly. Just a look from Aizawa and a hand signal from Izuku silenced Kirishima. Once everyone arrived at USJ, they met Hero 13, where he gave them the same talk as in the original story, only All Might was there. As a portal began to open in the center of the area, Aizawa had a serious look as his instincts told him to prepare. Kaminari: this is part of the test, said the electric boy, confused. But when Aizawa was going to say that those coming out of the portal were villains, he saw how Izuku tore off the metal from his bracelet while walking slowly. Izuku: Amite Pisces. The Pisces armor appeared and emanated the same golden aura as the green-haired boy, and when Izuku emanated his golden cosmos, the armor disassembled, dressing him. Izuku had left everyone surprised, but Bakugo and Katsuo still maintained their hatred the same. But even though it was hard for him to admit it, he was impressed by how Izuku summoned his armor. All Might. Shonen is authorized to fight, and young Lita goes for reinforcements now. Several students like Bakugo and Katsuo felt hatred because they were not allowed to fight, while Lita went to UA. Izuku only takes out blue roses, his dagger roses, and with Aizawa and All Might. Izuku: I don't like this. All Might: what do you feel? Izuku: I feel a large cosmos approaching. Aizawa: let's finish them off and then we'll figure this out. All Might launches himself at the Nomu to fight like in the anime, and thanks to a demonic rose from Izuku he managed to defeat him. The villains surrendered and reinforcements from the UA, police officers and filler heroes arrived and dispersed throughout the USJ. His companions were amazed at the power Izuku demonstrated, but the green-haired man still hadn't changed his serious face. Midnight: what's happening? Izuku: several specters are approaching, and possibly a judge from hell will come. No one understood anything, but those in his circle plus Director Niza tensed up. All Might: go and fulfill your duty as a shonen knight. Izuku: I will do it. All Might sensei retreating towards where he felt the cosmos approaching. All Might: young Yaoyorozu, can you create a drone so we can see what we're up against? Momo just nodded and did as requested, sending the drone to where Izuku went. Momo also created a television by linking it to the drone, so they were able to send it without any problems. Before Izuku could jump, the brunette managed to grab a rose that the green-haired man left her and began to worry. Chapter 14. Following All Might's request, Momo created a television and a drone which they sent to where Izuku was going. But everything they thought would be an aspiring hero playing at being a hero left them stunned as the officers who were next to him heard screams from their radios. Kirishima: what was that? Kaminari: what's going on? Momo watching TV: guys, look. On the screen, several dead heroes and police officers could be seen. The song begins. 2 heroes and 1 police officer screamed in pain as they were killed by a man in black armor. Filler Hero 1: damn, you disgusting villain. I won't let you set foot in the USJ. I admire your great courage, hero, but it's useless. As I see, you don't have the strength to back up your courage. You're just a puppet that's very easy to control, whether it's by a god, a government, or me, the great -HHHH cosmic puppet. Hero: it's like we're controlled by strings. I can't move. Ag, minus. Their pathetic lives are controlled by my threads. How useless is their existence. Then the hero and the policeman at his side writhe, to fall dead. With the heroes, nobody could believe what they saw. Kirishima, I kill him very easily. Scared. Lita, that's what they are. Midnight. Nizu, if it is as young Kayama said, they are soldiers of the god of the underworld Hados. Tokoemi, his aura is similar to Izuku's but Mina, purple and transmits an immense desire for death. Scared. Even Almight was trembling. That sensation that could only be seen on television was even greater than All for One's. End of the song. With the Spectres. Spectre 1. Lord Minus, we have defeated all the heroes who were near here. Spectre 2. Anyway, those heroes keep appearing. Spectre 3. From what I see, sir, they are determined not to let us pass. Minus, there is no need to rush. The best school of heroes is in front of us. You yourselves have witnessed how weak these heroes are as they advanced. Spectrum 1. Are these rose petals? Everyone stops when they see a field of red roses. With the heroes. Midnight. Izuku, you arrived on time, somewhat relieved but worried about her son. Tsuyu, sensei, those roses are from Izuku, right? Lita, I don't remember using red roses. Kirishima, I don't know, but let's not look away. With the specters, 2 ghosts seeing this jump towards the rose garden. Spectre 2, you're all fools. You think red roses could stop us? Spectre 3, do you really think some flowers are going to stop us? But all that calm is extinguished when blood begins to flow from the mouths of the ghosts. Spectre 2, what's going on? Ahai, both fall dead. With the heroes. Nizu, how could simple flowers be able to kill those guys? Surprised. No one believed it. They just watched Midnight for answers, who didn't leave the screen, so they kept watching. With the ghosts. Minus, but this is it? Surprised. I think we should not go any further, my lord Minus. They are poisonous roses, especially deadly. They will kill us with their mere essence. Minus, tell me what you're doing here. You're one of Radamanthus' soldiers, star of the deep. Niobe. Niobe. Well, honestly, it's not important. I think for the moment we should just worry about him, pointing to Izuku, who was sitting nearby. Izuku, specters, you are welcome. Spectre 1, you are? Izuku, I am Izuku, friend, Gold Saint of Pisces. Spectre 1, the Golden Knight of Pisces? Spectre 4, it's Izuku with some fear. Minus, if I'm not mistaken, you're one of Athena's last Golden Knights. Did you come all the way from the 12th house? He's certainly a very handsome knight. The last bit mockingly. With the heroes. Kirishima, Izaburo just by his name made some people back down. Surprising. Almight, don't be too confident. Shonens. Bakugo, why does Deku do that? Katsuo, why? Momo, but I don't understand something. Why did he say Golden Saints of Athena and a sanctuary? Lita, I mention a house and Izuku mentions a constellation of the zodiac. Nizu, surprising. Aizawa, this gives me a bad feeling. Nearby, a portal opened revealing a young man in golden armor. That Cosmos is from. Damn, if I don't arrive they'll kill him. While he had a rosary, and some beads changed color. With Izuku, the green-haired boy just limited himself to jumping, falling with style, making Aoyama feel very jealous of where he was approaching the ghosts. Izuku, gentlemen, you jumped directly to your death. How naive, that specter is right. Niobe, Izuku, they are poisonous roses. If you are ready to die, come into my garden. You are welcome. Or will you run like cowards, dirty ghosts? This last bit is said in mockery and defiance. Spectre 5, what did he say? We have to kill him. This made those watching on TV tense. Spectre 4, don't even think about touching those thorns. They are not harmless, they are deadly. Thus, 5 specters were launched against Izuku, who just waited peacefully. Izuku, real demonic roses, throwing the red roses towards the specters, making them fall. Spectre 4, yuck, damn, because you can stand on a garden of poisonous roses falling dead. Izuku still kept a serious and calm face. Niobe, you have truly brave soldiers, my lord Minus. Do not be fooled by their appearance. Just like his rose garden, that night is deadly. At the entrance of the USJ, Lita, he killed them. Surprised. Kirishima, how can those roses do that? Midnight then looks towards the combat zone. Aizawa, that red cloud is. Midnight, these are Izuku's demonic roses. Nizu, Midnight, how poisonous are those flowers? Because from what we can see, walking on those flowers is too difficult for them, I dare say, impossible. Midnight, have you ever heard the story of the Golden Saint of Pisces? Everyone shakes their heads as you have heard. Those guys mentioned the sanctuary of Athena. That place is where the 12 houses of the zodiac reside, the place where the knights of Athena reside, who protect the patriarch and the goddess Athena. The houses begin in Aries and end in Pisces, the house that Izuku guards, and it is that house that leads directly to the patriarch, between the house of Psyches and the temple of the patriarch. There is a garden of real demonic roses. They are deadly poison roses, which prevent the passage of any intruder. So in order for the golden saint of Pisces to be able to live near the poisonous roses, he must be immune to the poison. Izuku is the only one who could achieve that. Even his blood is mortal colleagues and students. The only thing we know is that people are drawn to him by his outward beauty, but rarely does anyone manage to get close to him. Because of his poisonous existence, it would be deadly to do so. Almight, so your roses are too beautiful but they have deadly thorns. Midnight, no Almight, they are beautiful because they are truly mortal. With Izuku. Izuku, tell me now who's next. Will you send the rest of your soldiers? Or will you come to face me? Griffin minus star. Minus only managed to smile, but said smile went away when he heard something. Niobe. Well, Lord Minus, let me take care of this. Jumping towards the garden of royal demonic roses, which didn't kill him, surprising everyone including the spectators. Hey, you can't kill me with your royal demonic roses. I admit that this rose garden has a magnificent smell. Izuku, HMP. I doubt a rat could ever understand the essence of a rosebush. Niobe, what? Annoyed. Izuku, come, I'll play with you. Niobe. Hey, you'll see. I'm going to destroy your pretty face. Launching herself into combat. Hiya launching a blow that is intercepted by Izuku with a black rose. What? Izuku, you don't like my cute face? Mockingly, while turning his hand with his black rose. Niobe, what does that black rose mean? Izuku, the black rose destroys everything it touches. Get ready, piranha roses. The specter began to dodge the thrown roses, but one damaged his armor, his sapuri. Niobe, hiding behind a pillar, which is destroyed by the piranha roses. Izuku, it's useless. Hiding from my black rose won't do you any good. Surprising everyone. It's admirable that you didn't die with my real demonic roses, but this will be your end. While pointing at his black rose. Niobe, hee. I assure you that black rose will have no effect on me. Izuku, what? The rose dissolves in the air. The rose. Niobe was blowing a purple smoke from her hands. Izuku, unbelievable. The roses are dying. What is this essence that kills my roses? With the heroes. Lita, what's going on? Midnight, the sky looks purple. Scared. Momo, that essence kills Izuku's roses. With Izuku. Niobe, deep fragrance. My essence is far more powerful than your real demonic roses. I guarantee that this sweet aroma will paralyze your entire body without any remedy. That way I can finish you off while you fall asleep. Izuku, it's dangerous. And with the wind it spreads quickly. If that happens, it will reach you. No, it will reach the boys at the entrance. I can't allow that to happen. Around Izuku a whirlpool began to form that absorbed all the deep fragrance. Niobe, essence swirls around him. What the hell is he doing? With the heroes. Almight, what is he doing in Shonen? Kirishima, he's absorbing that for us, letting a few tears show. Lita, he's sacrificing himself for us like Kirishima. Aizawa, he does it to prevent it from reaching us. Annoyed at not being able to help in this fight. With Izuku. Izuku just stood still, not moving at all. His previously light skin color was now purple. Niobe, he's already dead. What was I thinking when I decided to inhale all my poison? As she approaches the green-haired man and begins to hit him. Damn, what happened to your roses? Trash. You deserve it for hurting my sapuri. But before giving the last punch she stopped. What was that? I felt something strange. On the battlefield a kind of rain of blood appears. What? Is this a rain of blood? With the heroes. Aizawa, is that blood? Nizu, what's going on? Cement, we must help you. Midnight, don't go alone. We are a hindrance to him in this fight. All Might understands since he is fighting against being stronger than AFO. Tensing the professionals, police officers who were there, the students, because they were scared shitless. With Izuku. Niobe, tell me, when was that? The green-haired man's skin color was lightening, and he began to smile, bringing joy to those who watched. Niobe, maybe he looks at him. Izuku moved. Your deep fragrance, it wasn't that deep. Niobe, impossible. But if he inhaled all my deep fragrance, why? Izuku raising an arm. Fool, your poison doesn't affect me. It doesn't even make me nausea forming a rose with the blood behind him. I've lived too long among poison roses during my training. My own blood has turned into a deadly poison. The blood behind Izuku turned into thorns. As Izuku raised his other hand, crimson thorns. Niobe, HHGGG. Niobe would be riddled with bullets by the green-haired man's attack. Everyone looked on in amazement and fear as the one who seemed to be a defenseless flower showed a somewhat sadistic side, as he showed no mercy when it came to killing. Unbelievable, his blood turned into thorns. Izuku, my real demonic roses had no effect on you, because your deep fragrance covered your body and formed a shield that protected you, so what I had to do was send the poison straight into your system. So Niobe fell dead spitting blood. Wonderful. Izuku, I really appreciate the compliment, Mr. of Griffin. I confirm it, you will be a wonderful puppet for my collection. Pisces Izuku, now I will be your next opponent. Chapter 15. Previously. I confirm it, you will be a wonderful puppet. Izuku of Pisces, I will be your next opponent. Present. Izuku has become too serious. With the heroes. Kirishima, will the big fish fight? Confused and scared. Bakugo, Deku don't lose. Katsuo, even I would beat him. Arrogant. Lita, that's it. Midnight, one of the 3 judges of hell, and precisely the strongest of the 3. Almight, shonen powerless. His sense of power is scary. AFO is a simple ant. Without Izuku buying time, I don't know how we would have won this. With Izuku, separated his legs, signaling that the battle would begin. Giant wave of feathers. A large tornado lifted all of Izuku's flowers and surprisingly lifted the drone, destroying it. With the heroes. Lita, what happened? Midnight, it can't be looking towards the battle, they are Izuku's roses. Nizu, what's happening? Momo, Izuku-kun. In the fight, Izuku had covered himself with his arms in an X. Izuku, incredible power, threw all the demonic roses into the air, but he's surprised to find standing closer to him than before. Theme begins. Your real demonic roses, they were never a problem, with or without the help of that useless Niobe. How do you feel about having lost each and every one of your roses? Although perhaps you, Izuku, are the only poisonous rose left before me in this field, or are you a defenseless flower? Izuku, do you think my black rose can't fight you without the others? Piranha roses. The roses are fired at who dodges, but one knocks off his helmet, allowing the Judge of Hell to bind Izuku with his threads. Izuku HGGG. My body moves by itself. Cosmic puppet. Izuku Kui. You won't be able to move a single finger at will. Pisces Izuku. Anyone captured by my invisible threads becomes my helpless puppet. Even a gold saint submits to my strings. You're finished. Spectre 6. He did it. Spectrum 1. It's the great Minos. You guys. What the hell are you looking at? Go to UA and destroy it, while I take care of this insolent golden knight. Oh, by the way, you prevented Niobe's deep and deadly fragrance from spreading with the wind, forming a whirlwind around you. How heroic. I heard there are some students in this place. Izuku, huh? How exciting. Before going to UA, I want you to go after those students. I want you to kill all the humans you find. The specters jump and pass Izuku. Izuku, what's going on? As the specters overtake him, don't wait. Begging won't do you any good. Moving his arms, controlling Izuku, making him fall to the ground. Izuku, ARGGHH, damn you. Playing with the weak is a privilege of the strong. Didn't you know that? If you try to move against my will, I'll break every one of your bones. You've finally become another one of my puppets. The AU can wait. I want to play with you for a while. Now let's start by destroying that beautiful Pisces face of yours. Moved his hands and Izuku started hitting himself. Hee. Then your arms or your legs. Or maybe I'll break your neck right now. It's up to you. Psychopathic smile. Izuku just looked at him with a bad face. Your mother didn't teach you not to look at people ugly. Moving his fingers, making Izuku have only 2 fingers on his right hand, destined to stick them in his eyes. While this was happening, a miracle happened. The camera turned on, showing what was happening. Kirishima, what is he doing? His arm moves by itself, surprised. With Izuku, just moved his arm, making Izuku's arm go against his eyes. But he didn't expect Izuku to break his arm on purpose. Izuku Minos, I don't have time to play with you, nor for you to play with me. Face, arm, leg, break whatever you want, but I won't let you pass through here. Smiling defiantly, Minus, ah, how brave you are! You broke your arm on purpose to free yourself from my cosmic puppet. I think you're ready for me to finish you off once and for all. This'll be fun. With Izuku's companions, Lita, he broke his arm to get rid of that villain. All Might kept staring at the screen while thinking shonen. Midnight's heart was in her mouth. With Izuku, Minus, now I understand why the Golden Saints are the most powerful knights of Athena. And how do you intend to keep me here in these conditions? And my specters are about to attack that miserable group of students that tents the heroes and Izuku's companions. Izuku just smiled at that. Fool, it's your army that's going to be destroyed. Minus, what? Izuku, did you think this was the only path of demonic roses? With the students. One that is the group of students that Mr. Minus mentioned. Before going to the UA we have to obey their orders. We must kill all the humans in that group. This strained the heroes, who with the courage they had mustered, stood before the students. Spectres, yes, us. 2 we will avenge. 3 to our companions. 4 killed. The 4 of them launching themselves into combat. Spectrum 1, does it smell like roses? White roses began to shoot out from the rocks and bury themselves in the ghosts' chests. White roses that everyone saw turn red, and when they were completely red, the ghosts fell dead on the spot. Spectre 1, surprised, are these roses? With Izuku. Izuku, they are bloody roses. When shot at the enemy, white roses pierce the heart. When they turn red your army will disappear. With the students. Spectre 1, damn demonic roses, yes, damn Pisces Knight. Izuku falling dead, astonishing everyone, seeing a white rose on the subject's back. With Izuku, Minus, it's true the cosmos of my specters has completely disappeared. Ha 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 ha, laughing like a madman. Izuku, why do you laugh like that at your deaths? Minus, excuse me, Golden Knight of Pisces destroying you will be an honor, using his cosmic puppet against Izuku, breaking his leg. With the students. Kirishima, what is he doing to Izaburo? He is destroying him. All Might, damn. Lita, he broke his leg, scared. With Izuku. Minus, ha 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 ha, Judge. Izuku only saw this with pain, so he chose to draw a breeze of blood. Minus, wow, this is the blood breeze that killed Niobe. I think it's time for the party, Ejijiji. And now what? First, will you cut my body in 2, or will I be the one to tear yours apart? Izuku, I told you before, even if my arms are broken, my legs are broken, or my face is destroyed, I will never ever allow you to go past this way, Minus. Minus, ha 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 ha, well said, using his cosmic puppet to break Izuku's remaining arm. With the spectators. Kirishima, he's fighting until the end. How manly, crying with sadness for his friend and for the bravery he showed. All Might, Shonen, you are a true hero. Midnight was on the verge of tears. With Izuku. Izuku was just holding on so his arm wouldn't be broken, but he decided to use his cosmos to launch an attack. His arm released a bright pink cosmos, surprising the spectators. Minus was just surprised. Izuku, crimson thorns. Izuku launched a shower of thorns from his blood. Unfortunately, several hit the fallen drone, leaving the heroes and their companions without sight. With the heroes. Lita, Izuku, Kirishima, bro, Momo, Izukuin. With Izuku. Izuku was just amazed that Minus covered himself with his armor wings from the attack. Minus, honestly, I didn't expect someone so handsome to have so much fighting spirit inside him. Using his cosmic puppet, Izuku was enveloped in a violet aura. Minus, the bad thing is that you don't have that much power. The power to not be a puppet, the power to fulfill your wishes, the power to destroy others. Izuku, but why? Squirming, Minus just made his open palm turn into a fist, to which Izuku moved in an inhuman way, breaking all his bones, leaving his cloak stained with blood and Izuku lying in a pool of his own blood. Minus, you were a very entertaining toy, Pisces. Izuku, walking off to another place at a slow pace. With Izuku's companions. Momo, are those rose petals? Midnight, seeing this, collapsed in tears, since she knew from Albafica what would happen if that happened. Only Nizu and All Might realized what happened. Nizu, Midnight, All Might shedding tears, Shonen falling to his knees on the ground. Kirishima, what happened? Do you feel what's going on? Alarmed. Nizu, young Izuku is sad. Lita, he's dead, falling to her knees with tears in her eyes. Kirishima, curse Izaburo. The entire 1A except for Katsuo were hurt, Bakugo felt pain for losing Izuku, since he still appreciates him in a certain way as a friend. But before anyone could say another word, the USJ began to be destroyed by attacks that no one knew where they came from. Everything was a disaster. They were going to retreat, but Minus appeared to stop them. When he saw Momo, he decided to go down. Minus, it seems we have a fan of roses. Momo just tensed up, and her classmates, heroes and teachers just stood still from the fear they felt. Minus, tell me, girl with the rose, you know Izuku of Pisces, if so you will die just like he died. Momo, were you the one fighting with Izuku? Scared. Minus, that's right. But the truth is I expected more of a golden knight. It was disappointing, but the truth is I had a lot of fun. Momo, you couldn't have defeated Izuku. Kirishima summoning courage. No, you couldn't have defeated Izubro. Minus, what do they say? Momo, no, a gentleman like Izuku can't lose to someone like you. I hate you. Minus smiling. That's what you think. In that case I must leave right now, so please excuse me. I can't waste my time with trash like you. Minus launched a Cosmos attack, destroying everything in its path until someone stood in the way, blocking it. All golden armor. The song begins. Dorado, I'll take care of this. Run away quickly. Momo, no Izuku. Minus. So Kiki of Aries appeared. She came to avenge her dear friend the Knight of Pisces. Kiki, the specter that defeated Pisces, decided to destroy this place. As you can see, it is natural that I come to stop him, because I am the Knight of Aries, the guardian of the first house of the zodiac, and I do not like your damn face sneer me expelling his golden cosmos. Minus, you're going to suffer the same fate as your Pisces friend. I'm truly sorry. Now say goodbye to this world, throwing his strings towards Kiki. His arm moves on its own. Minus, get out of my way, Aries. Kiki, I won't do it. Minus, it's too boring to torture you, so I'll break your neck right now, moving his finger, and Kiki's neck turned purple. Kiki, ARGHHHHH. Minus, hee ha, you will die. Kiki, ARGHHH. But some black roses appear, cutting its threads. Minus, but this is it? Black Rose. Momo, will it be him? From the curtain of dust caused by the destruction of Minus, a slowly walking Izuku emerges, quite injured. Izuku, forgive me for being late, I swear I can still fight. Minus, damn, but I broke every bone in his body. Izuku, could I ask you a favor, Aries? Don't let anyone get close except the enemy. Minus, which gives you strength to continue. Pisces. Izuku, I'm surprised you're still alive. You could have died, along with all your beauty. No matter how many times we fight, those who have no power are destined to become puppets. You're pathetic. You're so beautiful but full of blood and mud. I don't feel like killing you anymore. Izuku, you know something, Minus. I've lived in solitude because of my poisoned blood. That's how it's been my whole life. And you calling me beautiful, it bothers me too much. Damn specter. His arm begins to emanate pink cosmos. How dare you? No one in my life had ever allowed you to call me beautiful. I swear you're going to regret it for the rest of your life. Who do you think you are? Tio, talk to me like that. I have my powers. My Cosmo. I have not yet shown you my true power. Raising his cosmos even higher, with his rose in his mouth. Minus. Well, in that case, show me what you have, Knight. Let's see what you are capable of. Izuku, Crimson Thorns. Minus, fool, the Crimson Thorns can't hurt me while receiving Izuku's thorns. Kiki. Izuku turned his blood into deadly thorns, but this amount is not normal. Perhaps are you using all your blood, Izuku? Minus. You have a very big mouth, Izuku, while the green-haired man kneels. Well, let's get this over with, throwing a blast of air with his cosmos. Izuku Deku Sunshonen Kiyama. Minus. In case you haven't noticed, Pisces. Izuku is finished. Now you're the next. Kiki. Kiki. No standing up, there's no need to fight someone who's already been defeated, surprising everyone by it. Minus, what? A trickle of blood fell from his mouth. Kiki, just look at you, Minus. Everyone saw a rose in the area of Minus's heart. Minus, that is, the demonic rose that was in his mouth. How did you do it? Kiki, you're wrong, Minus. It's not a demonic rose, it's a bloody rose. It's white, but it turns red with your blood. Minus, a white rose. Kiki, a white rose covered in Izuku's poison red blood. No one could believe what they were seeing. Izuku seemed more dead than alive, but he managed to defeat a judge from the underworld. Minus was terrified, so he dropped the rose to the ground while trembling. Minus, I was defeated by a rose with a simple drop of poison. Damn Izuku while raising his cosmos. Damn Knights of Athena deploying more cosmos. I will destroy them. You, this place, and everyone. Giant wave of feathers while unfolding the wings of his armor launching the attack. I swear that everything will be destroyed. Everything. Kiki. I won't allow it making the glass wall in the shape of a wall, which stops the attack. This you see here is my glass wall, and it will block your attack. Izuku is on the verge of giving his life and I won't allow you to destroy it. Annoyed. Minus. Damn you PUJ spits blood and falls to the ground dead. Izuku weakly. I'm done? All Izuku. Izuku, don't come near me guys. All Might, why not? Izuku raises his head with difficulty. The roses that were torn off by Minus are returning. His cosmos has disappeared. My life has been among these roses, which are poisonous. But they are the most beautiful roses in the universe. They are my life falling into unconsciousness. These roses are very beautiful. He faints. All Izuku. Chapter 16. Izuku had collapsed to the floor after facing and defeating Minus. Everyone was worried, but for fear of the poison that the green-haired man with the beautiful face had, they didn't dare touch him. Only Kiki of Aries approached and used her cosmos to try to save his life since he was on the verge of perishing. Kiki curse. Kirishima, what's wrong? What's wrong with Izabro? Momo, what does Izon have? Midnight, what does my Sochi have? Kiki, needs blood. I spend a lot of it on the crimson thorns. Midnight, don't tell me that's starting to cry. All Might, Aryan Shonen, what should we do? Kiki, get some blood. From what I see you are his mother, aren't you? Midnight just nods. We need blood. You know what your type is. And I know that the Pisces Knight who trained him must have left at least some of his blood. Izuku has poisonous blood, so we must do something similar to save him. Momo, excuse me, that is the way of a knight. Kiki just nods. If that is the case, the knights will continue fighting and will die. I don't want Izuku to die. I don't want to crying. Kirishima, we don't want Izabro to die crying like some of his classmates. Kiki, we don't fight to die, if you want to know. We live to defend peace and justice. That amazed all the heroes, teachers, paramedics, police officers, and students, to protect them. That is our true destiny in the world. We don't fight to die, but to fulfill our oath. Of course, that can lead to death, but it can also lead to other things. We will continue fighting until our lives are extinguished. That surprised everyone because of the courage the knights displayed. All Might, I already called you a by blood, recovery girl is coming. Kiki, try to be quick, I won't last long using my cosmos to save him. Nizu, young Kiki, right? The Aryan just nods. I would like to know the magnitude of what we are facing, and how many knights must arrive. That way we can surely put together a plan and resist, to gain time. Kiki, I agree. Looking at Izuku's friends, I'm sure what Izuku said about training them in the use of the cosmos is true. Momo, Kirishima, Kaminari, Lita and Uraraka nod. In that case, we can start that training, since I will also give my support. A portal of light appears, 2 green-haired girls come out. All the heroes are on guard until Kiki speaks. Kiki, Shun, it's good that you're here. Shun, I introduce myself. I am Shun, the Golden Knight, guardian of the 6th house of the Zodiac, representing the constellation of the Virgin. I am the Saint of Virgo, and I introduce the one at my side. No need, let me introduce myself. I'm Shura, a former Capricorn Knight. Kiki, I'm glad to hear some reinforcements have arrived. Nizu, I would like to ask Shura-sama why he is a former knight. Shura, you see, I died in the last holy war, and thanks to Athena's power, I was able to return for a certain period of time. So, my task is simple. I'm looking for someone worthy of being my successor. And before you get your hopes up, know that my training is hell, and it'll only get doubled by the recent attack by the specters. That last bit made most people tense up. Nizu, wow. Kirishima, I'll do it. I don't care if I have to go through hell. Shura just looks at him thoughtfully. I saw what those guys are capable of, and I did nothing. I felt useless. Bucking useless. I want to fight alongside Izabro. And if that means becoming a knight, going through hell, I'll do it. I'll defend peace and justice. I'll defend the people and this world. Shura smiles, seeing that determination. Shura, not bad for those words, but are you really sure, boy? Kirishima, that's right. Even if it breaks my bones, I'll do it. Shura, well, from now on, boy, you are my apprentice. I will teach you to use your body as a sword, since as the next Knight of Capricorn, you will turn your body into the legendary sword Excalibur. Kirishima, I will do so. You will see that I can be worthy of fighting alongside Izaburo and Kiki-san as well as the other knights, for Athena and humanity. By the way, I am Kirishima. Shura, okay Kirishima, from now on I'll make you Athena's most loyal knight, extending his hand, a gesture that Sharktooth reciprocated. Recovery girl coming in. I have the blood you asked for, we must do it now. Kiki, let's do it. Shun, Shura, help me with your cosmos please. Those named do as requested. Recovery girl and Midnight along with the cosmos of the 3 knights managed to stabilize Izuku, and inject him with at least 3 full bags of blood. One of them was from Albafica, who had left with his cosmos protecting in case such a case happened. RG, well I think that's it. Shura, who he faced to end up like this. Almight, a man in black armor named Minus de Griffo. Shura, I face a judge from hell? Kiki, yes, that's right. Shura, wow, that transvestite has some nerve mockingly, while Izuku gets up with difficulty. Everyone tries to laugh at this, but when they see Izuku getting up with great difficulty being helped by Kiki and Shun. Izuku raising his white rose, you were saying something, damn goat. Shura, calm down now, you don't tolerate anything, not even a joke. Izuku, as if I hadn't been told. Almight, Shonen is okay? Izuku, yes, I just have to go back home to the rose field. This weakened me quite a bit, and if they gave me a transfusion, I have to recover the poison I lost. Midnight, Sochi, your friends and some of your classmates want you to train them. Shun, I'll help those who want with the basics of the cosmos, while Izuku recovers. Shura, I will train my apprentice looking at Kirishima. Kirishima, I hope to improve, Master Shura, my body will be as sharp as yours. Izuku, I'm glad a friend becomes a brother in arms. Kirishima, hee. Shura, well, you rest while the others start training. Midnight, I would like them to stay home and train there. Albafica left everything prepared in case this happens. Everyone nods and leaves. The UA closes for 2 weeks, telling the press it's because of the traumas. But in reality it's so they can train with the Golden Knights. Chapter 17. After the attack on the USJ, UA gave the students 2 weeks to rest and train. We can see Izuku heading home with Shura, Kiki, Shun, and his group to begin training, while the aspirants tell the knights about the superhuman society. Shun, well, you have to have a license to handle powers. Izuku, that's the annoyance. Kiki, I'm still surprised you came close to dying while facing Minus. Kirishima, that was very manly. Izaburo, Lita, it was a bit risky. Uraraka, too much. Momo, idiot swears at Izuku, you know how worried you made us. Shura, ha 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 ha, take advantage of hitting him after he recovers his poison, they won't be able to touch him. Kirishima, ha ha ha. Shun, Lita and Uraraka right? Lita, yes. Uraraka, yes. Kaminari, they forgot me crying comically. Shun, on the contrary, you are just recovering from your short circuit, he smiles. Lita, I'm intrigued to know what battles they've had, although I'm worried about killing. They taught me that a hero doesn't. Shun, it doesn't kill, right? You see, I also believe that, but an old friend who wore the Gemini armor taught me the greatest lesson of my life, since I was just like you. Lita, what was that advice? Shun, you see, he was once an enemy knight, and then became an ally. He told me that time. People who are so sentimental are a burden. Should we repent for hurting our enemies? If the enemy is not defeated, many more people will suffer. I recognize that I do not have the right to speak of justice, but even if it is a crime to kill enemies, then let us get rid of all the evil in the world and face God's punishment. Lita, it's a great counsel. Shun, although I understand you very much, all life deserves its due respect, but there are beings who will not hesitate to eliminate it, which is why we must be strong enough to eliminate those beings. We are not talking about a simple thief, if you understand me. You understand, Lita? Lita, yes. Kaminari, it doesn't matter if I earn armor, I'll train to fight by his side. Shura, that's the spirit, and as for you Kirishima, don't back down from the training you will undergo. Kirishima, doing so would not be manly, so I will not back down. Izuku, I'll just tell you this, you'll train in my house's field, but you're forbidden from entering the rose field or touching them. You've already seen what my roses are capable of. Uraraka, HAI. I don't know if I'll become an Amazon, but if this helps more people fight and defend me, Count me in. Momo, in that case, I'll train to earn the armor. 20-minute time skip. Izuku, welcome. Hello mother, hello Orpheus. The baby just smiles when he sees his brother. Midnight, welcome. Shura, go on, you'll teach him about the cosmos, right? Izuku, only if he wants to when he's old enough. I won't force him. Shun, he has the same name as a former Silver Knight. Shura, Orpheus of the Lyre. Midnight, I never knew where my husband got the name Orpheus from. Izuku, me neither. Well, I'll guide you to the training camp. Hey nerd. Izuku, what do you want Bakugo? Bakugo, talk to you if possible, but in private. Izuku, okay. Mother, can you guide them? Midnight, please follow me. After that they go to the training camp. Bakugo just falls to his knees. Forgive me. Izuku surprised. What? Bakugo, forgive me. I was the worst shit that exists. I let myself be influenced by Katsuo and I used you as a punching bag. I didn't act like the best friend I was. I didn't defend you when I should have, shedding tears and seeing that you almost died saving my life along with the rest, and seeing that Katsuo just snorted annoyed made me realize that I was always a bucking extra in his eyes. I don't deserve anyone to call me friend, and you who always would treat you like garbage, I know you won't be able to forgive me or call me a friend, but I hope I can earn that right again. At that moment Bakugo broke down, put aside his pride and cried. Izuku thought about it carefully. Bakugo wasn't the type to swallow his pride to lower himself to do things like that, so he chose to smile. Izuku, you know Bakugo, a long time ago I asked myself why you did it, but with every explosion you gave me I felt that you regretted doing it, that you were only following my brother as if you were a subordinate. Besides, I know you too well to know that you are proud, and I know what you suffer when you humiliate yourself like that. And you said it yourself that maybe I can't forgive you. And you're right, you know why. Bakugo, why was I the worst shit? Turning around to leave. Izuku, no Kaken, smiling as if they were both friends and leaving. Bakugo surprised. I can't forgive you for something that is already forgiven. Opening his arms, come on. I still want my best friend to join the fight. I don't know what you will wake up to wear armor. But without a childhood friend I don't plan on fighting in this war. Also I think you need to vent and go back to being the proud being you were, friend. And before you say anything, take advantage of the fact that I am low on poison from my fight with Minus, since if I recover my poison you won't be able to do it. Bakugo and Izuku hug each other, while Bakugo cries, while the green-haired man hugs him tightly so that he can unload. After 15 minutes of hugging a Bakugo humiliated by his stupidity, Izuku, come on, it's time for you to train. Shun will take care of that, at least as far as the cosmos is concerned. And prepare to meditate, that way you'll get stronger. And don't you dare do anything stupid like enter the rose field or touch a rose. Tell the USJ specters if I'm lying. With the others. Shura, well my apprentice, you must break this stone only with your bare hands, without using your quirk. Kirishima, as sensei orders. Shun, okay. You guys will do the same. Izuku, I see that they have already started, so Bakugo appears he will join. Shun, I entrust this to you, and Kiki, I must talk to you. Bakugo started working on how to awaken his cosmos with the others. He wasn't upset, but it was somewhat irritating for him not to be able to use his quirk. With Izuku and Kiki. Izuku, well tell me Kiki, I know it's not just Hades and Athena who have armies. What will happen with other gods? Kiki, if I'm honest I don't know. But I think Athena will look to some god for support, keep that in mind. Izuku, well, I'll leave the others to you. I must recover my poison entering the rose field. Kiki just nods. In the world of Saint Seiya. Saori, it's good to see you. Lucian and Sorrento? Lucian, that's right, niece. Saori, Poseidon? Lucian, P, that's right. The vessel that sealed my soul was broken in the battle against Hades. And let me confirm that Zeus's mission to another world is true? Saori, why the question? Seiya, let Saori finish. Lucian, P, I want to help. I won't let him want to take over the oceans in another world, and well, that also implies the land. Only Sorrento is my only marine general at the moment, but I want him to go and fight by his side to stop Hades. Saori surprised. And who will defend this world? Sorrento. I'll go and take 2 scales, the others will stay to defend if anything happens. Seiya, well, Sorrento, Shun will be happy to see you. Sorrento nods. Saori, then it's decided. Poseidon entrusted the earth to you. Both retire with Sorrento. Lucian, P, brother, that Hades plotted now in another world. Invading other worlds is not normal for us. Chapter 18. The first few days of training for the aspiring knights were tough, let's put it mildly, torture. Bakugo was annoyed at not using his quirk, but seeing that the others were emphasizing his ability to improve, he swallowed his pride and continued. He decided to cut ties with Katsuo. He wasn't going to be with a jerk who only sees him as an extra. 3 days into their training, Shoto Todoroki joined in. Upon seeing Momo heading to Izuku's house and seeing them train, he decided to ask and join in after confirming that he was allowed to train. Something that surprised his teammates was that Izuku remained meditating inside the rose garden and didn't go out at all for 5 days. Bakugo, has the nerd been there for 5 days? Kirishima, it seems so. Shoto, hasn't been out in 5 days, incredulous. Shura, his cosmos places him in that area. Shun, that's right, and I feel like it's increasing quite a bit. Lita, will she get her poison back? Kiki, I guess. Midnight, don't worry, it's not the first time he's overdone it in there while meditating. That caught everyone's attention. Kaminari, what do you mean this isn't the first time? Tokoemi, that intrigues me, he joined in at the same time as Todoroki. Uraraka, and I thought Shun-senpai was exaggerating. Shun, hee. Shura, that's nothing compared to what Shaka of Virgo did, he has been meditating non-stop for 2 years. Midnight, the last time I exaggerated was 2 months before the UA exam. Shoto, so he's used to it, right? Midnight, that's right. Kiki, I feel Cosmos. He didn't manage to finish speaking as a portal opened revealing 3 people. Shun, Seiya, Ikki and Sorrento? Seiya, wow, so this is the place where the Saint of Pisces lives. By the way, I'm Seiya, the Golden Knight of Sagittarius. Sorrento, I am Sorrento of Serena, Marine General of Poseidon. Shun, so what? Sorrento, yes, Shun, Poseidon offers help in this holy war. It's also strange. Gods never just abandon a dimension, so there must be a reason. Ikki, hello, I'm Ikki from Leo. Izuku, so the cosmos I felt were 2 more golden ones and a marine general wearing his armor. Seiya, you are the current Pisces, right? Izuku, that's right, I'm Izuku from Pisces. Seiya, well, it seems you're training your friends for this fight. That surprises me. Ikki, just in case, we brought some cloth in case someone is chosen. Sorrento, I brought the sea dragon and kraken scales. So there will be at least 2 more marine generals supporting them. Midnight. Izuku, Izuku, mother, what happens? Nizu, actually, I'm the one who wanted to speak, and I see that more knights have joined, which makes me happy. Izuku, what's going on? Nizu, you see, seeing everyone here, it's possible there's a traitor in the UA. The USJ attack wasn't a coincidence. Izuku, I had that feeling. Shoto, the reporter's entry would be meaningless if it weren't for a peaceful purpose in some way. Nizu, I want to ask you to be alert. Besides experiencing an attack, I tell you that you can act. Izuku, I appreciate that. Nizu and Izuku, I want to know what relationship you have with the Midoriyas. Izuku, that's my old family, those who wanted to kill me for simply not having a quirk. Surely they know about the fire where my teacher and father saved me. The director nods because then is the question. Nizu, because we suspect his brother. Bakugo, director, if you'll allow me. The director nods. Katsuo behaves strangely sometimes. I distanced myself from him this week. I know I treated Izuku like the worst shit, and being here means that I was able to gain his forgiveness and I will gain his trust. But Katsuo is not someone you can get anything out of. In fact, one of the days I met with him, I heard his father talking to a certain Kai Chizaki. Nizu, the leader of the Yakuza? Izuku, I knew my father set me on fire to kill me for something. He pushed me out of the way for something, raising his cosmos. Midnight. Izuku, calm down. Nizu, what does young man mean? Izuku, I always suspected that my father was not a good person. He was always quite ruthless. And not because of his treatment of me. I have seen it since we were children while playing with my brother and Kaken at home because of how he treated his mother. Bakugo, wait, so my mother? Izuku, I don't rule out that I wasn't threatened or anything by him. Also, if that Kaichizaki is a guy with a crow mask, I remember seeing him enter my home as a child. At that time I didn't know who he was. Nizu, that can be said. Izuku, let Katsuo be a double agent. Hisashi, what have you done? Midnight, we were never able to locate him from your place. Where could he be? Momo, I can help. The other day they came to my home to force Katsuo to marry me, and I was just at my house with Jiro and we overheard it. My father said he would think about it, and I asked him not to hand me over to him. He is an arrogant, absolutely evil being who fears no one. I don't know when they will return home, but he left somewhat angry with my father's response. And if it is as Izuku describes it, that means, Seiya, whether you are a target or your family. Izuku, director, I want to be Momo's bodyguard, and I will force information out of my ex-father. Nizu, I can't accept that. Being your ex-father doesn't make you trustworthy, since you could kill him without getting answers. Midnight, director, what if we start investigating? Lita, that's right, director, we can move around without being detected. Bakugo, don't be an idiot. Katsuo isn't someone you can catch off guard. Izuku, I agree with Kaken, and before continuing gunshots are heard. Are those gunshots? Nizu, yes they are. Izuku, mother, take Orpheus. Go to Papa's temple taking out the roses. Momo, Lita and Uraraka, you also go. I leave you to my mother. Shura, go. Kirishima, I'm ready to prove how much I've improved. Bakugo, those are them? Izuku, I recognize the car, it's Hisashi. I'll go. I want to see what he wants to do. Shun, I'll leave protection with you. At the entrance, Hisashi, open the damn door. Izuku, what do you want? Annoyed. Hisashi, where is Miss Yaoyorozu? Izuku, I won't give it to you, Hisashi, or should I say father. Hisashi, damn you, you should have died. Katsuo wasn't lying. And how convenient it is. I know Bakugo's here, so I'll kill him too. Izuku, what makes you think I'll allow it? Hisashi, you're useless. What are you doing? Damn Quirkless. Nizu, enough Hisashi. Another unjustified action and Katsuo will be expelled. Hisashi, oh the UA rat, I hope Katsuo. Izuku, what Katsuo, what? I remind you that I go to the same classroom as him, and he couldn't beat me. Now leave my home or I'll leave you worse than I left him. Hisashi, so it was you, damn it, throwing himself. Izuku, director behind me. Piranha roses. Hisashi, black roses won't do anything to me. But what? HHHHRGGGGG. Almight was nearby at the director's request along with Aizawa. Young Kayama, are you okay? Izuku, yes, I just took care of my ex-father, Hisashi Midoriya. Nizu, another action like that and Katsuo. And what will you do, you bucking rat, lighting his fists? Nizu, expel you from UA. Bakugo, go away, damn it. Katsuo, so the extra explosive, yeah. Thank goodness you left, otherwise I would have killed you myself. I hope you protect your mother, smiling maliciously. What does Shonen do? Kiki, I'm here with Bakugo's mother. Katsuo, what? Damn, how far do villains go? Hisashi, those roses left me hurt, damn it. Izuku, if you don't want me to kill you with my beautiful roses, leave my house. Hisashi, I'm not afraid of your roses. Izuku, you think so? How about I show you its beauty and terror? Taking out a white rose. Nizu, young Midoriya, in view of what happened, is expelled from the UA. Katsuo, what do I care? I've already managed to get all the information about his future plans. Good luck, and brother, the next time we see each other will be when he decides to kill you and Kaken. You too, take care of yourself. Disappearing into a black portal with Hisashi. Curse. Izuku, director, we confirm the answer to your questions. Nizu, that's young Kayama. Aizawa, I can't believe it, although his attitude didn't show anything else. And young Bakugo, you make me proud, offspring, for leaving that side. Bakugo just nods. Izuku, the most prudent thing would be not to hold the sports festival, director. If the robbery plans the festival was there. Nizu, I guess you're right. Not only the League of Villains is our threat, the specters of Hades are too. Izuku, Kaken, resume your training, and director, I want you to talk to Sagittarius Seiya. We must build the sanctuary as soon as possible. Niza and Almight nod. Chapter 19. After the events that occurred with the Midoriyas, all of Class 1A, plus the Knights of Athena and General Marino of Poseidon Sorrento, were gathered in Principal Niza's offices at UA. Nizu, well, the situation has shown who the traitor was, Katsuo Midoriya. Lita, because we didn't realize. Izuku, simple, and I'm sorry to use you as an example. Kaken, Katsuo is proud, somewhat impulsive, similar to Bakugo but much more exaggerated, but unlike Kaken, Katsuo has no remorse for causing harm to others. Bakugo does, and although he is impulsive, he thinks things through. Therefore, we would not notice. The best thing right now is to see what plans were prepared, since we assume that they know everything planned, so events like the sports festival, and events of that magnitude, are targets. Seiya, I agree with Izuku, that's not counting the Hades specters. Shun. So I think it's appropriate that we begin the construction of the sanctuary. Cements, I help them with the temples. Izuku, and director, it would be best to see how some families within UA can live, since we don't know if they become white. A clear example is the Yayorozu and Natsuki Bakugo. Bakugo, he's right. Sorrento, in that case we should not waste time. Nizu, I'm not supposed to tell anyone, but there was a plan to camp with the Hussy Cats. But seeing as it was planned in my office's plans, stolen plans. Izuku, director, we still don't know if he was the only traitor, there may be more than one infiltrator. At this point, Aoyama was sweating profusely and texted his 1B contact, Nito Minoma, that one of the infiltrators had fallen. Only Shun realized this, so through the cosmos, using telepathy, he spoke to him, convincing him to help him later. Aoyama, director, I want to say something in front of everyone. Nizu, go ahead, young man. Aoyama, you see, Katsuo wasn't the only infiltrator. Nizu, what do you mean knowing where this was pointing? Aoyama, you see, I was also working with Katsuo. Midoriya's father allied himself with All for One, and they took my family hostage and threatened me to do it. Nizu, calm down, young man, and I'm glad you said it, because if you are under threat we can give you help. Aizawa, offspring, you are not alone. Izuku, if we don't defend the innocent, what kind of knights and heroes are we? Unbeknownst to him, Nito Minoma was listening to everything and was going to report him to AFO and Midoriya. But, Kiki, Aoyama, tell me where they are. Aoyama, they are at Height, NA. I don't know what the streets are called in Japan, so imagine some name or number. Kiki, I'm going teleporting to that location, but I only managed to come back with 2 lifeless bodies, the young man's parents. Aoyama, mom, dad crying. Izuku, director, there may be a third infiltrator. Minoma was sweating profusely since he was hidden, but thanks to Kurojiri he escaped. Nizu, what do you mean? Izuku, we weren't alone in this room, surprising more than one. Vlad, so who was distrusting the boy? Izuku, one of the students of Class B, but I can say that I felt his presence in this room, and he escaped thanks to that USJ mist. Vlad, and possible unbelieving, he knew that none of his students were traitors, and he would defend them. Nizu, I don't know what to say anymore. Seiya, it would be best to start building the sanctuary. Let's take advantage of the fact that the specters haven't attacked yet. Shun, and allow training of students who wish to become knights. Nizu, in that case, go ahead, and I want to talk to the knights present, and Sorrento along with All Might, Midnight and Aizawa. Izuku, Kaken, Kirishima, I'll ask you to take care of Orpheus. Bakugo, I will, I owe you a lot, so I will protect the mini-nerd with my life. Kirishima, I support you Izabro, all but those mentioned are retiring. Nizu, good privacy to talk about more important topics. Shun, that's right, director. Nizu, we want to give this to everyone, gives professional hero licenses to everyone, including Izuku. All Might, they are more than above the level of professionals, and because of the USJ including Koyama Shonen, they will be known as professional heroes. Nizu, also, Shurasama, he will have his license to be able to practice if in the end he does not step aside from his disciple and wants to fight in this holy war. Shura, I agree. Seiya, no offense. Aizawa, go ahead. Shun, it's weird. Sorrento, I'll say it bluntly, it's stupid. Just to do it right you need a license? Izuku, I agree. I'm not arguing that being at UA isn't useful to me. I just think it's incredibly stupid to have to use a license to do the right thing. Don't get me wrong, it's not their fault, but thanks to this, the value of the word hero has been lost. All Might, I agree with the young people, but this is because of the governments and the laws. Midnight, after I married Albafica, surprising the Golds except Izuku, I saw him as them. Nizu, I understand how you feel. In the past this was not necessary. But with superhuman society this is used to control the masses and avoid those who decide to do evil with their powers. Shun, we understand, don't worry. Aizawa, I'm also against licenses, but all I can do is adapt resigned. Nizu, for those who in the armor, I will tell you that when you swear you will be given the licenses. Everyone nods and leaves. All Might and Nizu stay behind, and by mutual consent, they decide to cancel the sports festival. They will tell the press that due to a systems hack, they still cannot guarantee the safety of UA or the spectators, since the attack on the USJ weakened them more than expected. Meanwhile, they announced the new heroes called the Golden Saints, without giving their names. Chapter 20. After what the heroes decided, Momo went to give notice of what Niza had decided. Hisashi, damn rat, he changed his plans. AFO, calm down Hisashi. We can still strike a blow, Momo. I want you to keep everything informed. Momo, I will do so. At the UA, Momo had arrived, but something had changed in everyone. Everyone was being checked. The rooms for the students and families who had been threatened or had contact had been made, and imposing temples were beginning to be erected. Izuku, oh Momo. Momo, what do you want, damn Class A extra? Izuku, oh, nothing special. See if you want to walk with me for a while and talk. You know I notice you are very lonely and I would like to see if you want to make friends. Momo, whatever, let's go. 10-minute time skip talking trivialities to build confidence. Izuku, well Momo, why were you spying on the conversation we were having with Niza the other day? Momo just swallowed hard. How do you know? Izuku, I felt you as a friend. But I can see that you are afraid and that they are forcing you to do this. You know, you should not fear. Unless the knights, you already saw that we can protect them, and that includes you. Look, I can't put my hand on you to support you, because if I touch you I will kill you with my poison. Momo, well you see at first I was quirkless, and when they gave me power, they ordered me to do it. AFO protected me from Hisashi who wanted to kill me, and gave me this quirk. It is useful but it has many risks. Izuku, you know you can count on my help. My ex-father is an idiot who doesn't know the damage he causes. I got out of the life he imposed on my brother. It's time for you to talk to Nizu. That way we will protect you and help you. Oh, and without a quirk, if we had met before today maybe you would have armor on. After that conversation, Momo confirmed what he knew to the director, along with Vlad King, who no longer knew who to believe and decided to take a leave of absence. In room 1A, Kirishima, who will teach us? Lita, has anyone seen Izuku? Aizawa, well, kids, today the new team of heroes that will be here at UA will be announced. And by the way, Izuku will no longer come to classes, since for being a knight, he will be given the professional hero license. The same will happen with those who decide to become knights by earning their armor. So those who are already training their knight power go to the training camp, and for those who do not want to do that training, you will have classes with All Might. Everyone retreats to their respective training places. Kirishima trained with Shura to use his body as a sword. Shoto decided to learn techniques from the Cancer constellation, in order to be able to fight since it awakened his cosmos, and was similar to the previous Cancer Knight Death Mask. Bakugo, for his part, trained with Sorrento, since he was interested in carrying the Sea Dragon scale. Momo trained to be the Golden Amazon of Scorpio, having notable increases in strength, speed. Her cosmos was incredible. Uraraka trained her cosmos as a Silver Amazon, and due to the shape her cosmos took when released, she was a candidate for the Peacock Cloth. Lita also had a cosmos that was also silver level, bordering on gold, so she chose to use Lyra's cloth. Kaminari and Tokoemi, on their side, trained hard and their cosmos was at the bronze level. Tokoemi managed to be a candidate to be the Raven Knight and Kaminari for the Wolf constellation. So they continued training tirelessly. The days passed and everyone improved in hand-to-hand combat. For his part, Izuku only remained in the Pisces temple because he decided to meditate, since he had a bad feeling. End of the chapter. A bit short but good. It's updated. Author's notices. Guys, I'm planning to bring you new stories, which I'll bring as I finish the ones I've already started. I'll leave you a list of upcoming stories, so I'd like you to vote for the ones you want to see first. Izuku the Martian Manhunter. Izuku the New Robin. This will be about betrayal. Izuku and Koda betrayed the new Knights of Sagittarius and Leo. Izuku the Heir of Raven. Izuku with the powers of Raven from the DC Universe. Naruto, the son of Meliodas and Elizabeth. I'm thinking about this story. I haven't defined a title, but there will be 3 crossover animes. One will be about betrayal and the other will be about a second chance. And the world where they will take place will be that of Naruto. Izuku the Demonic Hero. This one is about betrayal. Izuku the son of Superman, a version of me that no one has done. Izuku the heir of Scorpion. Izuku the reincarnation of Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Izuku the heir of Ermac. Without further ado, I say goodbye and ask you to vote, and if you don't like it, Just suggest ideas, since I am open to ideas and suggestions. I say goodbye. Chapter 21. After the start of training, a press conference was called to announce the new group of heroes, so we can see Nizu, Khan's Saori, the current Athena, Ikki and Hyoga, who were the last to arrive, making preparations. Saori: I thank you Mr. Nizu for this. Ikki: what Athena said rat. Hyoga: I think I'm like my colleagues about the licenses, but there's no choice. Nizu: I hope you understand, we know about your mission, but by the laws of society we are literally tied hand and foot. Saori: we understand. Time skip at the press conference. Nizu: ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time we start this. Everyone pay attention. As director of the UA school and thanks to a request from the symbol of peace to the president himself and his acceptance, I am pleased to announce the creation of two groups of heroes who will fight for peace and justice. These young people have demonstrated all the values of a hero, and that is why they have been summoned. The press kept taking photos and filming to give the scoop. Nizu: that is why I am pleased to announce the Knights of Hope, also known from now on as the Knights of Athena, 88 brave heroes who, regardless of their age, will be willing to give their lives for peace and justice, to protect the innocent. Saving the press, those present applaud. At that moment some figures wearing their imposing golden armor appear. Nizu: these 88 knights will be led by the 12 strongest who are equal to or stronger than Almight himself, who has already recognized it, the Golden Saints, the Gold Saints, protected by a guardian constellation that is in the firmament. Currently they are few, but that does not mean that others who show the qualities they seek will not be accepted. For that reason I will introduce you to those who are already established. Under the constellation of the Ram, Kiki of Aries taking a step forward the aforementioned. Under the constellation of Leo, Ikki of Leo stepping forward with a serious face. Under the constellation of the Virgin, Shun of Virgo stepping forward with a smile and complete calm. Under the constellation of the Scales, Shiryu of Libra calmly passing forward. Under the constellation of the Centaur, Sagittarius Seiya the aforementioned coming to the forefront. Under the constellation of the Lady of the Pitcher, Hyoga of Aquarius the aforementioned one passes to the front with a cold look. Under the constellation of the Twin Fish and the current youngest member, Izuku of Pisces stepping forward, a long green-haired 16-year-old youth. Nizu: for now they are the first but not the only ones. The rodent then handed the licenses to the aforementioned. The press was doing its thing, but above all, they said everything about that green-haired young man in golden armor. Nizu: and finally, the last order established, the Guardians of the Sea, the Poseidon Marines, whose representative is Sorrento de Serena. The aforementioned goes to the front and receives his license. Well, that would be all. In a remote bar. AFO, Knights of Athena and Marines of Poseidon, interesting. Hisashi: damn Quirkless, you should have died when I burned my house down. Furious at the sight of his son. AFO, calm down Hisashi, your son has great power, if we steal his quirk. Katsuo: I doubt you can do it. AFO and Hisashi, explain yourself, an annoying one. Katsuo: Izuku is the most deadly being on Earth. In the attack on the USJ, when those black armored guys proved to be extremely dangerous, I even saw firsthand what his blood is capable of. AFO: your blood? Katsuo: his blood is a deadly poison. His body even kills on contact. They were only able to save him when he spent almost all his blood on the guy named Minus de Griffo, since in that way he lost a large part of his poison. Hisashi: I saw that. The Nomu that I sent to kill Midnight confronted the boy, and when he touched him he began to vomit blood and fall dead. AFO: wow. Katsuo: I even took a sample of his blood, and when the doctor analyzed it the result was the same. 5 times he did it. AFO: what was the result? Katsuo: who is quirkless, and the doctor when manipulating the blood ended up dying from the poison it had. AFO was now surprised by the boy whose quirk he wanted to steal. He was quirkless but had great power, and was extremely dangerous. With the heroes, it's been a week since the appointment, and the meeting of the Knights of Athena, and the Sailors of Poseidon. The media was all about Izuku, but he didn't even care. The headlines were varied, even saying he was a transvestite because of his delicate face. That last one made him want to go to the newspaper and throw real demonic roses. But that's not the point. We find ourselves in Hosu, in one of its alleys, where the hero Ingenium along with Native were following Stain, the hero killer. Ingenium: we found you, hero killer Stain. Native: we're going after him. Stain: 2 false heroes behind me die, cutting them and paralyzing them with his quirk. Society must be purged. false heroes must be eliminated. I will only let the true hero be the one to kill me, willing to stick his katana in ingenium. Not if I can help it. Stain, who are you? I am the guardian of the 12th house of the sanctuary. I belong to the Knights of Athena. I am Izuku, Golden Knight of Pisces with a rose in his mouth. Stain, so one of those new knights, from my perspective, is fake bullying him. Izuku, stop talking nonsense. Gentlemen don't get carried away by empty things like vanity like many do. Stain could only smile. I hope those aren't just words. Izuku, and you see that you only see black and white, a vision even blinded from reality. I know that Ingenium is a true hero like my mother Midnight, since she was the one who taught me to be a hero along with my predecessor Albafica de Piscis. Stain, that foul. Izuku, you say that about my mother and I'm not responsible for what continues to emanate from her cosmos. Ingenium, don't let it lick your blood weak. Native, it will paralyze you. Izuku just smiles. Let him lick it if he dares. After all, my blood is cursed. Those who have drunk it or in the best case touched it have already died. Stain dies by cutting him, but it doesn't reach him since Izuku, by reflexes, stops him with a blue rose, which is a blue rose. Izuku, don't you like my blue rose? Blue roses are as sharp as the best made daggers. Get ready. He launches himself to fight against Stain, giving both cuts to his opponent, but the most affected was Stain since he received all the cuts, and Izuku was intact. Stain, how can a rose be so sharp? Izuku, and it's not my only rose taking out a black rose. Stain, what does that black rose mean? Izuku, the black rose destroys everything it touches. Get ready, piranha roses. Stain dodges those roses as best he can but sees the damage they cause upon impact. Native, how can a rose do that? Surprised. Ingenium thinking, Tenya wasn't lying about his golden friend and his roses, even though it's dangerous. Stain, wow, you're really clever. At that point the fight is interrupted by Anoma. Izuku, wow, AFO and Hisashi Midoriya. How considerate, mocking since he knew the Nomo had a camera. At the bar, AFO, he realized. Hisashi, damn bastard, you shouldn't have been born. In the fight, Izuku, Stain, would you allow me to take a break while I take care of this lab creature created by AFO? That way we can resume the fight we were in. Stain, what makes you think you can take me on, and you will respect these words? Izuku, I am a gentleman and as such I am true to my word. At that moment, Izuku focused his gaze on the Nomu, then unleashed a gush of blood. This action surprised everyone present, as well as those watching on the video. Stain thinking, I must take his blood to paralyze him, but my instincts tell me to stay away from him at all costs. Izuku, I see Katsuo didn't tell you about this. Raising a hand, I see that I must show you the deadly poison that is my own blood. Insert topic. Izuku, I know you have this poisonous Nomu, but let me remind you that my own blood has become a deadly poison, crimson thorns. Everyone thinking, the breeze turned into deadly thorns. Izuku, well, one less being to worry about. Well, Stain, let's continue. Stain, I hope your blood only affects them launching to fight and miraculously cutting Izuku's arm. I have your blood. Now I'll paralyze you and you'll see how I kill the false heroes without you doing anything. Izuku just smiles. I invite you to do it, Stain. Stain could only lick the blood, paralyzing Izuku. But the heroes were scared and cursing the green-haired man for that. But Stain, after licking the blood, began to vomit blood and feel dizzy. Stain, what's happening to me? Scared. Izuku, I told you right? Stain, what do you mean? Izuku, my blood is the deadliest poison on earth. You refused to listen, so you ended up licking the small cut you made on me. I feel sorry for you, but unfortunately for you, there's no cure for the poison. You'll die a slow, agonizing death. Stain, ma damn. Izuku, don't worry, your senses are slowly disappearing. After 10 somewhat slow minutes for the heroes, Stain fell dead from Izuku's poison. Izuku, can you move now? Native, yes. Ingenium, yes. And about Stain? Izuku, I have authorization to kill if necessary. And what happened to Stain wasn't my fault. I warned him about my blood and he licked it in order to paralyze me. It was practically suicide. Native, remind me never to give me your blood. Izuku, I won't do it. That's what happened with Stain, the hero killer, who died from poisoning. That news spread throughout Japan. Chapter 22. The news of Stain's death spread throughout Japan. The press, upon finding out who it was doing its thing, since several journalists were against heroes killing villains, to the point of saying that Izuku de Pisces was a murderer. something that thanks to Ingenium was denied. Journalist: Ingenium hero's opinion on Stain's killer. Ingenium: I think he's a hero, since I was practically there when it happened. Journalist: could you tell us how you killed him? Ingenium: the boy practically didn't kill him. It is known that the hero killer Stain licks the blood of his victims to paralyze them. Annoyed journalist: but that doesn't explain why he died. Ingenium: yes, he does, since to understand it you have to know how he died. When the boy saved Native and me, he warned the anti-hero how poisonous his blood is, so even when he cut the boy, he licked his blood directly in such a way that the poison entered his system, and practically even for the most experienced scientists, the poison has no cure. Journalist: are you telling me that the boy is not a murderer? Ingenium: that's right, the boy didn't kill him, it was Stain himself who ingested the boy's blood, so it's technically suicide. Angry journalist: thanks. After Ingenium and Native's statements, journalists were upset, but people aren't stupid, as they saw the security cameras that recorded the incident, confirming Ingenium's words. So the press simply stopped harassing the boy. At UA, a conversation with Director Nizu was taking place with the Golden Knights. Director: are you sure? Seiya: completely. Izuku: also, before anything happens, I'll put up a field of real demonic roses so no idiot villains get through. And if they do, well, they'll die. Nizu: well, it's decided, we'll make camp. Izuku: Nito Monoma will be trained by me along with someone else, so you are warned. Nizu: good. Izuku: I know they wanted to do this with the practical exams, but believe me, it's better not to do that. Nizu: Aizawa, you know what to do. Aizawa just nods and retreats to 1A. Nizu and Izuku: I know it's sudden, but can you take charge of Class B as a teacher? Izuku: whatever you say. Both of them retire to their living rooms to give their announcements. Room 1A. Aizawa: well, kids, I have to give you an announcement. Kaminari: I hope it's not an exam. Aizawa: no, that's not it. I'll tell you that we'll have a training camp, so get ready because your training won't be easy there. Everyone except the aspiring knights and Amazons are sweating cold. Room 1B. Izuku: well, since your main teacher will be on leave, I'll be replacing him for a few days. Any questions? Kendo: you're young to be a pro hero, but how? Izuku: pardon my manners, I am Izuku of Pisces, guardian of the 12th house of the sanctuary. Girls thinking: Kaya, he's handsome. Monoma: you're great. Everyone looks at him ugly. Izuku: I understand that you are upset, guys, but you must understand the suffering he went through. Besides, let's say I know about that, and I know one of those who forced him to do this. Tetsu: who's sensei? Izuku: my biological father. Everyone swallows hard. Izuku: you see, my biological father is not the best person in the world, nor the one to whom they would give the Father of the Year award. He is an idiot who only looks out for his own well-being without caring who he hurts along the way. You see, I'm not supposed to say it, but you know when I was a child, he tied me to a ladder, doused me with fuel, and together with my brother, they set fire to the house with me inside. But you see me here since my teacher, who was my father and predecessor to the Pisces armor, saved me. Everyone looked at him in amazement, and they saw Monoma with a different face. Izuku: okay, it's time for you to get ready for camp, and Monoma, I want you to come with me. I'll leave you with Professor Cementos. Both leave. Monoma: what do you want? Izuku: just get ready, you'll be training with me, so I want you to know. Monoma: HAI. Time skipped the next morning. Both classes were boarding the buses to go to the camp together with some knights like Shun, Izuku, Shura, Shiryu and Seiya, along with teachers like Aizawa, Midnight with Orpheus, and miraculously Endeavor and Almight. But there was someone else, a young man with an American appearance and gray hair named Miguel, Miga 2334, an aspirant to the Altar armor. This is how the UA camp was going to be held. Find out what problems lie ahead in the next chapter. Chapter 23. After leaving the UA on the buses, collective because I'm Argentinian, everyone was talking about trivialities, sleeping, or using their cell phones, while Izuku and Monoma talked about what they would have done if they had met before, since they both knew what Hasashi was like. Bakugo talked since according to Sorrento he must improve in his cosmos, and learn the techniques of his sea dragon scale. They continued doing that until they reached the Hussy Cat's forest, which made the same scene as in the canon, and while regarding Koda, he looked at Izuku with his armor as well as Seiya, Shun and Shura with their armor. Koda, who are you? Seiya, I am Seiya, Knight of Sagittarius. Shun, I am Shun from Virgo. Izuku de Piscis. Shura, Capricorn Shura. The four of us are golden knights in service to the goddess Athena. Izuku, can you set up the demon rose path for safety? Izuku, CLA. His expression becomes serious behind us now. Aizawa signals to the rescue party who take Koda. Wow, 4 golden saints, what makes you think you could beat me? Seiya, why don't you show your face? Iacos of Garuda, one of the 3 judges of hell. Iacos, I didn't think you'd recognize me, ex-Pegasus Knight. Seiya. Izuku, Iacos, so the Pisces who defeated Minos of Griffo, I will make him pay elevating his cosmos. Izuku, Aizawa, evacuate to the camp now, aspiring knights, as your superior orders you to protect those who do not train to be one. Kirishima Bakugo Leaders / Uraraka Tokoemi Kaminari Shoto Momo, HAI. Izuku, raising his cosmos, I take care of his army. Spectre 1, don't believe it, bucking gold. Spectre 2, I, Cyclops Giganto, will defeat you, pathetic golden one. Izuku, real demonic roses sending at least 10 specters flying. Giganto, damn falling dead. Shun, treasure from heaven. Iacos, what's wrong? I can't move. Shun, the treasures of heaven are the truth of the universe. Whoever receives this attack cannot flee or defend themselves. Their 5 senses disappear. First touch vanishes. Iacos, damned, with the students. Koda, what's going on? Specters, they will not advance, there were about 5 of them. Kirishima, I won't let my training be in vain. Seiken swinging his arm like a sword, killing the specters while I'm somewhat sharp but not enough. Shoto, don't keep all the fun to yourself. Hell waves. Aizawa, well done. Ragdoll, but they killed Annoyed. Lita, sensei, more are coming, making a decision. Tokoemi, Kaminari, go with the others at the end, the rest of us will help stop these guys from advancing. At least we know a technique from our constellation, taking out a lyre string nocturne, electrocuting a couple of specters. Bakugo, how good that I learned some techniques from Canon Ken at the speed of light. Momo, pierce the darkness, crimson stings, scarlet needle. Bakugo, try this holy pillar, generating a water tornado with his cosmos, feel the weight of a Poseidon sailor arrogant. Kirishima, I don't have the edge to call it that yet, but Excalibur. Uraraka, flashing exorcism. After these battles, at least 30 specters fell dead at the hands of several aspiring knights. In particular, 3 stood out for the use of the 7th sense: Shoto aspiring to Knight of Cancer, Momo aspiring to Golden Amazon of Scorpio, and Eijiro Kirishima aspiring to the most loyal knight to Athena. Aizawa, wow, you've improved, my offspring. Mandalay, why did you let them stay behind? Aizawa, if we didn't do it, we would be a hindrance to those young aspiring knights of Athena. Also, he looks at Koda. I think Izuku and Seiya have chosen a disciple. Koda, yo? Aizawa, get ready, they'll talk to you. Tokoemi, I don't feel evil cosmos, but we shouldn't be overconfident. Kaminari, you're right. Mineta, and since when do you behave like this? Kaminari, since I wanted to be a knight. Mineta, traitor. Tokoemi, Black Alabama Astil. Several crows catch 2 ghosts. With Izuku, Iacos, they are tough to beat. Knights of Athena inside the treasure of heaven, but they will not win. Seiya, golden arrow. Iacos, this will not be the end of Hades-sama. Enjoy your victory. Damned knights of Athena falling dead. Izuku, it seems the challengers took care of the specters in the forest. Shura, Kirishima is progressing well. I'm happy for my disciple. Shun, we should go. And Izuku put the rose garden. Izuku nods and puts the roses. Time skip. Aizawa is well ready, right? Koda, it's ready, and why those roses? Annoyed and curious. Izuku, they're real demonic roses, the most beautiful and deadly roses in the world, a defensive measure if those idiots, the specters of Hades, attack again, or if some villain decides to come and bother us. I'd also like to talk to you and say, young Koda. Well, the rest of you, take advantage and rest, because training starts again tomorrow. The students are sweating cold. Mandalay, and why don't you prepare yourself too? Izuku, I'm a knight of Athena. I already have my license despite being 16 without stopping looking at his rose. Seiya, besides Koda, you have a lot of potential. I would like to train you. Koda, they are heroes, right? Izuku, no. Koda, and why the license? Izuku, you see, it's to use our powers without some idiot coming and arresting us for doing the right thing. Koda, well, but what are the Knights of Athena? Undoubtedly the same as the Hussycats group and most of the A and B classes, plus Shinzo and Miguel. Mega 2334, another appearance of the great Miguel. Seiya, you see, since the age of myth, the gods came down to earth for various purposes, some beneficial to humanity and others not so much. That is why the protective goddess of the earth, Athena, decided to create the order of 88 knights who fight for peace and justice, to defend the world from those gods who wish evil. It is said that these knights are capable of opening the heavens with their fists, and opening the rock with a kick. And if they succeed, they are capable of defeating the gods. Koda with stars in his eyes, great. Ragdoll, and how they are governed. Izuku, we are governed by the orders of Athena, followed by the patriarch of the sanctuary, then there are the golden armors, followed by the silver ones, and then the bronze ones. Tiger, and what rank are you? Shun, we are golden knights of the 12 existing armors from Aries to Pisces. Pixie Bob, are they governed by the constellations of the zodiac? Shura, yes, and not only the zodiacal constellations, but the others as well. Aizawa, we better go inside. Izuku, and Koda, your hideout is within the grounds, so don't worry about the real demonic roses. Koda, okay, but I want to train with you. Izuku, you'll be joining Monoma's training. Smiles. Chapter 24. After the specter situation at the camp, the knights and Aizawa had to explain everything to the hussy cats, as well as tell Koda what knights were like, which surprised him and made him doubt whether he wanted to be one, something Seiya didn't let go and managed to convince him to make the journey. After that, the students proceeded to have dinner and relax in the hot springs, the same happening with Mineta. The next day training began. For Koda and Monoma it was hell because they didn't know the physical training it took to start using the cosmos. Monoma, I don't remember the training being hard. Koda, don't even mention it. Izuku, cheer up guys, this is how to prepare your body for your cosmos. Shun, I'll take care of that. Izuku, Shun, I'll leave them to you. I have to stand guard on the perimeter. Shun, okay. With Shura and Kirishima. Shura, I saw some of what you did with the specters. I must say I'm impressed, but you're not sharp yet. Kirishima, I know and it frustrates me. I want to be sharper than you, sensei. Shura, that's what I wanted to hear, so we'll do twice as much as we were doing. Kirishima, HAI sensei, with the others. Shoto, hell waves, well I'll be able to train in this place seeing the Amatsu. Momo, Scarlet Needle attacking a dummy to improve her aim. Uraraka, Wild Feathers. Tokyo, Ale Negra. Kaminari, Wolf Bite. Lita, final chord with that she accidentally put 3 boys from Class B to sleep. With Izuku, the green-haired boy was patrolling the path of demonic roses when he sensed something was happening. Izuku, I wouldn't go in if I were you. Who are you? Izuku, isn't it rude to ask for a name without first introducing yourself? I apologize for my manners mocking, but my name is Shigaraki. Izuku, so the USJ jerk. I don't know what you want, but you know what I'm capable of since I know that AFO. Hasashi, and you saw my fight against that Nomu with a camera. Shigaraki, I actually came to tell you to take care of yourself because it might be late, ha ha ha. Izuku, tell Hasashi that I won't be gentle if I find him, and also tell Katsuo that he may be my brother, but if he dares to hurt someone I won't be afraid to leave him on a hospital gurney for life withdrawing. At that Shigaraki leaves. Izuku, damn fetishist. Seiya, I thought you would attack him. Izuku, I was about to do it. Seiya, I'm surprised by your brother and father. Izuku, sharing blood doesn't make us family. Seiya, I already know. Izuku, leaving that aside, what do you need? Seiya, I'll accompany you. I know this must be hard for you. Izuku, not really. But I know I shouldn't let myself be guided by my desire to make them pay. That's not what my teacher taught me. Seiya, I know, but anyway, changing the subject, Monoma and Koda are trying hard. Izuku, I knew they would do it, but I feel like Monoma is holding back. He's still affected by what he did. He thinks he's not worthy. Seiya, I understand, but you have to get over it. But I see concern in you. Izuku, I think that if this war didn't break out, I could be with my little brother, my mother and my friends. I know I'm a gentleman, but I'm afraid of losing them. Seiya, we are human. It is normal that we are afraid. Izuku, I know. It's not dying that scares me, it's leaving them alone. Seiya, no one has the benefit of life in this war, and we golden ones are the closest to death. Izuku, I just hope the boys survive and guide the next generation. I don't mind giving my life, but I would have liked my little brother to be my successor and be able to train him. But if we die in battle, I just hope that at least he inherits my armor and will. Seiya, I understand. They continued talking about trivial things until they reached the camp, watching Monoma and Kota try to break a rock with their bare hands, talking to Aizawa about what happened with Shigaraki, making them more alert than before. End of chapter.
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.